forward to this computer. Now, okay. So this is what the only thing I did between last week and this week. I had asked you to add this step footing here on this wall, and to add that step footing there in that wall. I hope you did it, guys. You got to keep your model up to, you understand? And if you don't remember how to do the step footing, well, that I think I did it twice on the video, so you'll be able to refer to that. So that was the only thing I did, because what we did last week, we had basically done all of this and we stopped here. And then after that, I told you, do the step footings in here, and that's what it's supposed to look like so far. Now, what we're going to do is, hopefully you guys all have your models open. I mean, your file open. I'm going to clear this. Okay, so what I want to do is, everybody should go to your view browser here, okay, and go to the south view. Okay. Now in the south view, I don't know if you noticed, but if you take the drawing, right, make sure you have this drawing because you have to refer to it quite a bit. Okay. If you look at the drawing, you'll notice that there's quite a few openings in the walls here. Okay. So we're going to have to put those openings in the wall. And the way we do that, of course, those openings are in the south wall. So this is the south elevation. So if you're on the south elevation, this is the south wall. Okay. So basically, okay, to do an opening, like for example here, you know, you have structures here, and you have here this icon, like these things are a little sometimes get in the way. Here you have wall opening. Okay, so you can use this icon here. Okay, and then all you have to do basically, I'm going to zoom in. And like once you pick that, you pick. Okay, so I'm going to do sorry, wall opening. Okay, so. And, you know, just, you pick a point, you drag it out, you pick a point, just make the opening for now, okay? And then we'll adjust where it's supposed to go. So I'm going to undo that, okay? So try that on your own. Like in other words, you know, you pick the wall, and then you say wall opening, and you just pick a point on the wall, sorry, and then you drag over, and you pick another point, okay? And that's how you make an opening. Now, of course, what you want to do is you want to make sure you place it, you know, pretty accurately in your model. And therefore, after that, we'll start playing around on how to adjust that. So just, is everybody okay with that? And then, of course, if you go look at this in 3D, you see there's the opening, okay? So I'll go back to the south elevation. Is everybody able to make a wall opening?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you go back to the drawing, sorry, yes.
Can you repeat the opening?
Yeah, like basically, okay, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete it, doesn't matter. So basically, like if you pick the wall, right? Here on the top menu here, you have wall opening, okay? And it basically shows you, well, these videos always show things to be so simple, but so you do the wall opening, and then, so somewhere on this wall, you want the opening to be somewhere in the wall, you pick a point, just pick a point, and then you drag, and you pick another point, okay? Now, you can basically just, and there's your opening. Now, we're gonna adjust it, of course, we're gonna place it properly on the wall, but that's how you make the opening. So you pick a point, and then you drag over, and you pick another point, and you just make a rectangle. So now, if I click on this again, okay, this is one thing I don't like about Revit, okay? It's got all these stupid things on where it takes its reference point. So if you want to, you can now move this over to that point there. So that makes more sense. You can move this over to that point there. That makes more sense. So in other words, at least these things make sense. And now this is with respect to this elevation, that's with respect to that elevation. Well, those aren't too bad, right? So so that's the first thing I like to, I like to move. Now, if you look at the drawing, right? How far is that wall opening from axis number 4? Well, if I look at the drawing, I see that that opening is 1 foot away. So right up here, I can double click on that and change that to 1 foot. So I'm going to change that to 1 foot. Put a 1, enter. So now that's at the right place that way. Now, how big is this wall? Okay, the opening is only 4 feet. It's only 4 feet wide. So if I double click in here, I can change this to 4 feet. So in other words, this is how 4 feet. Now it's 4 feet. How high is it? Well, there's 2 things you can do. You can either adjust these 2 dimensions, okay? Or, is it 4 feet? Yeah, it's 4 feet. Now, so in other words, if you go to the drawings, this is where you know when it comes to Revit, it's all about the information. So you have to have the information in order for you to be able to, so you're gonna have to go to the drawing and work out, well, where is that opening with respect to the top of the wall, right? So where, can anybody tell me how far is the opening? In other words, from the top of this wall, where is this line with respect to that? Can somebody calculate that from the drawings?
Sir, how do you select your wall?
Oh, you just do this, pick there. In other words, go on an edge of the wall and just pick the wall, okay?
Okay.
Did it turn blue?
Yeah, but it was just
That means
like
you picked
a
it.
small section
Okay.
of it.
Okay, so that's how you pick a wall. Now, of course, like if, for example, because in Revit, the way it works is that, you know,
Okay.
contrary to AutoCAD, you take the command and then you go pick the entity that you want to work with and you do the command. In Revit, you pick the entity, you go up on the ribbon, pick the command, and then you execute the command.
So now it
That's-
became blue. Like, what do I do?
Pardon?
Now it became blue. Like,
Okay, so now if you want to make a wall, now you whatever you want to do to that part of your model. If you want to make a wall, you go up here and you pick wall, and I'm ready to make another opening. Understand? Whatever
okay,
you want to do.
wall.
I can move it, I can copy it, I can flip it, whatever I want. Okay. All I'm saying is that right now I'm making openings, so in this case here, of course, escape, and yeah, guys. Remember also in Revit, I forgot to explain this last time, when you're in a command and you want to get out of it completely, you've got to hit the escape button twice. Escape, and you get out of the command. So now I'm going to delete this. So I pick that.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I can select the wall, but the wall opening, I can't click the wall opening button.
You can't, you can pick the wall here. Is that it?
Yeah.
Like this? Okay.
Yeah. But after the wall opening button, it's like grayed.
It's grayed out?
Yeah.
Are you on the south elevation?
Yeah.
And did you pick the south wall?
Yeah.
Maybe you're picking something else. That's what you have to be careful about.
No, I'm picking the south wall.
And you're saying that it's not turning blue like you see on my screen. Is that it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like I'm picking, no, my wall is blue like yours.
Okay.
But after at the top, the wall opening is grayed out. Like I can't select it.
Okay, no, that's it. But just click on the Modify tab. You click on Modify.
Yeah.
Do you see here the icon for wall opening?
Yeah, I see it, but I can't click it. Like.
Oh, if you can't click it, that means you're not allowed executing that command in that view. So I don't know what you're doing. You understand? When something is grayed out on the ribbon, that means in that view you can't use the command. And if you are on the south elevation, you should be able to make the opening with that particular view. Not a problem. I'm kind of surprised. It's hard for me to tell you because you might have done something else, and God knows, like there's so many on toggles on this program, on and off. Your guess would be as good as mine what you did. You understand? Because everybody else was able to simply pick the wall, go to wall opening, and drag an opening in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
what we can do is like, so for now, don't worry about it. What we'll do is that once I finish with the lecture, we'll share your screen and then we might be able to see where the glitch is. How's that?
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, it would have been nice for you to be able to continue your model as we're going along, but okay, so like I said, it's hard for me. This program is immense, guys. Okay. So right now, what I need to do is, of course, I want to set this properly. Oh, first of all, I moved this for some reason, so I should go back to here. Put this back to 1 foot. I don't know what that. Oh yeah, I did undo. And that stayed the same. Now I wanted to adjust this. So did anybody figure out what the distance is from the top of the wall here to the top of the opening? Did anybody work out that value?
Is it 2 feet 6 inches?
Yeah, I think it's 2 feet. Yeah, so therefore I can put this to 2 feet. Let me change this to 2 feet. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Jimmy. If you look at section GG, it tells you where the top of the opening is with the top of elevation 102, and it's 2 feet.
Not 2 feet 6 inches, sir.
No, it's 2 feet. Like if you look at section GG.
Okay.
And you see that from the dash line, which represents the top opening in the wall, to the top of 102, they mark 2 feet.
Oh, okay, I see.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, now what is the height of now in other words, starting from, okay, this is elevation 9. So what would this distance have to be? In other words, if I come now and I do a measurement, okay, and I measure from here to here, look at the weird measurement I got, right? This opening is supposed to be 4 feet 6 inches, right? So I mean, I can try to drag this up and see what that gives me. Or if I knew what this dimension was, I can drag it up until I have the right dimension. So guys, as I said, with Revit, what you have to constantly do, be able to provide the information, okay? So like, excuse me. So if we look at that from elevation 90, that's 91.33. So that should be 4 feet 4 inches.
Minus.
I have 4 feet 4 inches. And now if I go and measure my distance here, if I have 4 feet 6, yeah, 4 feet 4. So that's from, oh yeah, minus, you're right, minus 2. So therefore I have to bring it down an extra 2 inches, right? 4 feet 2 inches. And now if I go ahead and measure my distances, where's distance? I measure from here to here, I have 4 feet 6, so that one is good. I measure from here to here, that's good, that's 4 feet. And last but not least, if I measure from here to here, that's 2 feet. So that's exactly where I want that opening in that wall, okay? And of course, if I want to see what it looks like in 3D, I simply go up to the quick selection menu bar here, go to 3D, and there is the opening. Now I'm going to go back to the south elevation. Now, you guys want me to give you a few minutes to adjust your opening?
Sir, could you do that again?
Yes, please.
Well, I mean, all I'm saying is that you're going to have to click on the thing and make sure that this is at 2 feet, make sure that this is at 2 feet 4 inches, make sure that this is at 4 feet in here, and then you're going to end up getting, that's if your drag points are where mine are. If they're not where they are, you can move them to where they are, okay? In other words, I move the drag point to here, then I move that drag point I left there. This is at elevation 91.33. So if your drag points are exactly where mine are, and if you put 1 foot here, if you have 1 foot there, you have 4 feet in there, you have 20 feet in there, 2 feet there, 4 feet 2 there, then your opening is correctly positioned.
Okay.
You're just gonna have to play with it, guys. And guys, it comes with practice. It's like you have to play with it, drag it up, drag it down, zoom in. Okay. Now, if you think that it's easier for you to work with, if it's easier for you to work with a grid in this case, what you can do, for example, you can go to structures, you can say show grid. Okay. So I'm going to pick a plane. Okay, so there's your grid. Okay, now if you want, so there's the grid. If you want to work with a grid, if you want to work with a grid that's 6 inches spacing, because everything seems to be, so here what you're going to do is you're going to change the, understand? You're going to change this to 6 inches or 0.5. That's going to give me 6 inches. So that's going to make the grid apply. So there's my 6-inch grid. If you want, now if the grid doesn't coincide with your levels, then you can click on the grid, and you can move it if you want, and you can make sure you go from one intersection and you put it, like, go there and put it right on your grid, so you can move it so the grid corresponds to your thing, and then the grid might make it easier for you to drag where you need to go. So you can work with the grid, guys.
Can you like zoom out and like show your dimensions again?
Yeah, sure. But if I zoom out, you notice the grid is gone, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
don't use the grid.
anyway, I'm just showing you guys, if you feel comfortable, want to work with a grid, work with a grid. Okay, so now I'm just going to turn off my grid because I don't like grids. I'm going to turn it off. Okay, so if I click on this, there's my dimensions.
Okay, so 2, 1 feet. What? Okay, yeah. That's why.
In other words, this opening is 4 feet 2 inches above level 91.33. It's 2 feet below 102, 1 foot away from axis 4, and it would be 20 feet away from axis 3.
Okay,
If you have that, your opening's in the right position.
Okay, yeah, I have that.
Okay,
Perfect.
good. So now, of course, you can repeat this again. In other words, I can repeat this again. Okay, I can go back to, pick the wall, right? And then go to wall opening, but I won't do that. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna realize that with Revit, just like with AutoCAD, I can copy. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna pick my opening. So like I said, you always pick your opening first. Then right here, you should have this modified, I'm sorry, these things keep coming down, okay? So you see, just like AutoCAD, you have a move command. You see that? So there's the move command. Now there is telling me this is what you want to move, right? So what I can do, pick a point that I can work with. So I know that if I, for example, excuse me, I know that if I pick this point here, oh, first of all, if I'm going to make multiple copies, I got to remind you to do this. If you're going to make multiple copies, right up here, you should click multiple, okay? If it allows you to do this. In this case, it doesn't allow me to do it for some reason, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you can do multiple copies, but in this case, it doesn't. But now, I'm going to pick, just like in AutoCAD, I need to pick a base point so it can actually do its calculations, okay? So therefore, I'm going to pick this as my base point. Then I'm going to drag it over by 6 feet, because that's where it is, because I have 4 feet plus 2, 6 feet. Press enter. Oops, I should have, sorry, not. Sorry, I should have clicked undo. So again, okay. So I'm going to move. I'm going to pick this, move over by 6 feet, click it there. I did, sorry, I wanted to do the copy command and I did the move command. So this, I'm sorry, there's a copy command. Now I can do multiples. Sorry, that's why I was choosing the wrong command. Multiples of the copy command. And then I can come here at this point, move it over to 6 feet, click at 6 feet, and then move it over another 6 feet, because the next one is also at 6 feet. And then I'll do the last one, and then I'm just going to modify the opening. The other one's supposed to be at 5 feet 6. So that's where it's supposed to be. And then if I want, right, I can go ahead and copy this one here, right? I'm going to copy it. Now, of course, I only need one. I'm going to take this base point, move it over here. And that is also going to be at 4, 5, 7 feet away. So I'm going to go to 7 feet. And there you go. Now, of course, this one is much wider. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to stretch it out to 6 feet. And there you go. So that one's already made. See, so the copy command allows me to do it much quicker, okay? And then what I need to do is go and modify the opening here so that it corresponds to what I have on my drawing. But so far, I go back to the 3D view. There are all the openings so far, okay? Now this one has to be modified because it's lower and wider. But so go back to the south, okay? And remember, guys, your views are also up here, okay? Your views are also up here. So now we go back here and we start modifying this one. So that's exactly where it's supposed to be. I want this to be 5 feet wide, so I'm going to move it over by a foot. And then I start playing with the heights. So as long as I know what the heights are, right, I can put that in the right place. And of course, that I need to know, for example, how far is it from the top? How far is it from the bottom? And that I'm going to have to go and calculate off the drawing, okay? So for example, that opening is 2 inches above 91.33. If you look at elevation EE, this is 2 inches above 91.33, sorry, 92.33, I should say. And so therefore, it's supposed to be 2 inches above 90, excuse me, supposed to be 2 inches above 92.33. And I'm at 91.33, so I should be at 1 foot 2 inches above that point there. So I'm just going to drag it down until I have, whoops, 1 foot 2 inches. No, I'm going too far down for some reason. I think I've got the wrong information. Okay, so let me just double check. Anyways, let's work out. So work out the information, guys. And I'm going to do the same on my side because I want you guys to start, extrapolating the information you need from the drawing so it helps you learn how to read a drawing. And we'll make sure that we all have the same information when we put our opening, okay? So, okay, so 92.4 minus. I'm not sure if I got it right, but so that's supposed to be 7 feet. So from here to here, I have 7.6, so that's not correct. And from here to here, I'm supposed to have 5 feet. From here to here, I'm supposed to have 5 feet. Well, that's correct. And then from here to here, distance from here to here, I'm supposed to have, okay, so now, 2 feet 8 inches below the top. 2 feet 8 inches. Okay, so I worked out, I don't know if you guys worked it out, but I worked out, according to the information I saw in the drawing for the door, okay, that the top of the door is supposed to be at 2 feet 8 inches below the elevation 102. And the bottom of the door is supposed to be at 1 foot above 91.33.
Sir,
Yeah,
how is it 1 foot above 91.33?
well, I might be wrong, Jimmy. Let me just double check my dimension.
I just don't know how to calculate the.
Oh, that's correct. Well, look, Jimmy, look at elevation EE.
Okay.
Okay. do you see the bottom of the opening on elevation EE?
I see there's 2 inches.
Okay, 2 inches to the slab, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. What height is a slab at?
Well,
If you look, it's supposed to be,
isn't it 4 inches?
well, if you look on, if you go to where the stairs are, Jimmy, okay,
Yes.
you see that you have 9 feet 4 inches plus 6 inches. That's where the slab is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 9 feet 10 inches.
Yes.
Okay, so what's 102 feet minus 9 feet 10 inches?
2 minus 9 feet.
Sorry?
92.8. 92.8.
92.8. That's what you get? Let me just do the math myself. I'm just relying on you. I just want to, I have to do the math myself, Jimmy. Hold on. So I said 102 feet is the top of the wall. And here we have 9 feet 10 inches. So therefore I have 2 inches and 11. I have 11. 92 feet 2 inches. That's where the slab is, Jimmy.
Okay.
And the opening is 2 inches above there. So I have 92 feet 4 inches. And that elevation is 91 feet 4 inches. So therefore it's 1 foot above 94 feet 4 inches.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got it.
Okay. Now guys, like I said, this is the, like this is part of the exercise is you have to, be able to work out this information from the information shown on the drawing. So basically there are your openings. Okay. Now, before we finish with openings, where else is there an opening?
Rebar.
Sorry?
The rebars.
No, but where else is there an opening in the wall? Does anybody know where there's an opening in the wall? We've done the ones on the south wall. Are there any more openings in these walls?
Is it on the north wall?
Exactly. So in other words, there's one on the north wall. Very good. Okay. There's one on the north wall. So let me go to 102. There's an opening in this wall here. So I'll expect you guys to be able to put that opening in. I'm not going to do it. Now that's going to be part of your exercise. So put the opening that you need in this wall here. Okay. And all that information to put that opening is on the drawing. So you should be able to extrapolate the information and put that opening in. And most of the information for that wall will be in elevation. You'll see that in elevation in section. Most of the information for that is for where that wall opening is all in section DD. So you should be able to, like it tells you, the wall opening is 3 feet by 7 feet. That's the size. It tells you that it's 1 foot 6 plus 8 inches. So in other words, it's 2 feet 2 inches below elevation 102. And it's centered right between 2 and 3. So you've got all the information there to put in the opening properly, okay? So I'll expect you guys to do that as an exercise. So you guys can be able to start understanding how that's done. So that's going to be something you're going to have to do as an assignment and make sure it's done by next week, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on, okay? And what we're going to do now, okay, is we're going to continue putting in the rest of the walls. Okay, so I'm going to continue putting the walls, and I'd like to put in the walls here, in this corner here. In other words, the walls for the elevator shaft. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in here. Okay, and I'm going to put the walls in the elevator shaft here. Now, guys, do you have the same excuse me, you guys see the hatching on your drawing? Yes or no?
No.
You don't have the
Yes.
hatching, or do
No, I don't have the hatching.
you guys don't have the hatching? I'm the only one with the hatching. Is that it?
I have it.
You have it. Okay. So if you pick one of the footings, right? Right click, okay, and where it says override graphics in view by category, do all of them by category, okay? Where it says surface pattern, take off the check mark, 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 press apply, and it's gone, okay? So, because it's very annoying, okay? The same thing, I'll do the same thing for the walls one day, okay? I can do the same thing, override graphics by category, and remove the check marks for the patterns. And then if ever you want them back, you just right click again, you go to override graphics, you put them back in, apply, and they're gone, okay?
How did
Right.
you click on
Pardon?
the? How did you click on the footing? I can't even click on the footing.
Well, are you on elevation 102?
Yep.
And you can't pick your footing?
Nope.
Wow. Then go down to elevation 91.33 and see if you can click on the footing.
Now I can click it.
Now you can click on it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's because you're gonna have to adjust your view range, you understand? And,
Right.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, so like that was just to show you that if you ever have this annoying, like for example, I got some here in the column here. Okay, in other words, I'm gonna pick this column, I'm gonna right click. I'm just gonna get rid of the by category, and I'm just gonna get rid of that hatching. Apply, okay. Okay, so the ones of you that didn't have it, well, that's because, and that's what I find really interesting about Revit. Even though, I don't know if you got 2021 or 2020, and even if you have 2020, depending which one you have, if you have 2020.1, 2020.2, 2020.3, they each behave differently. It's really bizarre, understand? Anyways, now, what we're gonna do is, we're gonna be putting the walls here, okay? So we might as well be at the level where that wall kind of starts and everything else. So I'm gonna go down to elevation 91.33, because, okay? I'm sorry, I'm gonna go to 91.33, there I am, okay? Now don't worry about my lines and all that, I can fix that all up. And then again, see, like I haven't removed it here, that's because every time I do that, the visual graphic thing, that is very specific to that view and only that view, so it doesn't matter. Now, so these are my foundation walls here, this is my footing, and so on and so on. Here's my step footing, here's my step footing. Okay, so is everybody at elevation 91.33? If you're not at that elevation, whatever you're going to be doing is going to be completely wrong. Because like I said, it's all about the information. So now, if you look at section AA, can you extrapolate the information regarding how high, where that wall is with respect to elevation 91.33? Can anybody tell me? Because AA gives you all the information you need with respect to placing the wall. In other words, if you were doing this on your own, you would have absolutely no idea on how to put that wall. Is that it?
Well, the top of the wall is at 92.33.
Okay, so that's a good starting point. So in other words, 92.33 is the top of the wall. So write that down somewhere on a piece of paper so you can do the calculations, unless you can do this in your head. That's not the top of the wall, as a matter of fact, that's the top of the slab. So So in other words, the top of the wall, if you look at it, would be 6 inches higher than elevation 91.33. Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
Does everybody else agree with me?
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Okay. Now, how far does the wall go down from 91.33? Or from the top? I don't care.
Uh, 1 feet.
It only goes down 1 foot? The wall is only 1 foot high?
3'6". Oh no,
Okay.
3
So
foot,
that's
3 foot.
so in other words, from 91.3, from the top of the wall to the bottom of the wall, I have 3 foot 6 inches, right? So that means that from 91.33, the bottom of the wall would be at what? What would be the elevation of the bottom of the wall?
Sir, when you say
89.33.
91.33, what is it that you're implying actually?
What am I implying? In other words, where
Well,
is this wall vertically placed in your building?
90.33.
No, I'm just saying, when somebody asked me, what am I implying? In other words, like a building is going to have levels, right?
Well, is it the top of the wall where there's the top of the slab, or does it start at the bottom of the slab?
Well, I want you to tell me how you would extrapolate the information, Christopher.
Well, we're gonna add the slab, the like, let's say the roof, or are we gonna leave it open? That
Well, that is an elevator shaft, okay? So in other words, that area has to stay open. And then I'll show you how to put the slab in eventually. But right now, I'm just worried about putting in the walls.
all
Like in
right.
other words,
Well,
I'm doing one element at a time, okay?
all right.
So in
But
other words, somebody like, see, you have to, guys, you're gonna have to start thinking
what I'm
vertically.
saying is the slab, sir, the slab is 6 inches. So
That's
from
it.
92.33, you take off 6 inches. It's not 91.33, is it?
No, in other words, 92.33, that's 92 feet 4 inches minus 6 inches.
It's 91.88, no? 82.
Well, it would be really 92.44 minus 6 inches, it would be 91 feet 10 inches.
All right, yeah.
But then if I take away 6 inches from that, I'm going to be down to 91 feet 4 inches.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's what, because see, what you have to remember, you've created levels by which you're going to be able to tell the program where it'll be able to do this calculation. So right now, what you're seeing here in plan view, Christopher, you are at level 91.33. That's what you're seeing in plan view in the vertical space. That's where you are. You understand?
Yeah.
Now, your wall was 6 inches above here. That's what everybody was telling me, right? And then they said that the wall went down here by 3 feet 6 inches. Therefore, from here to here, I have 3 feet, right?
Okay.
And if
Perfect.
I look at the levels I've created, that means the bottom of the wall here is going to be at what elevation? What's 91 minus 3?
88.33.
And do I have a level 88.33?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can use that to give the information I want to give. If I didn't, I would show you another way of doing it. You understand? Right now I have that. So that's what I need to know, okay? That's number one. Number two, so now I know in terms of vertical information where to place this wall in this virtual model. That's number one. Number two, in the horizontal plane, first of all, how thick is the wall? So, okay, so let's go. I'm going to leave this here for now. Okay, so now if I go to structures, right? I go to structures and I go to wall and I go to structural wall, right? Now, save the project. Okay, save it. Okay, so now how thick is my wall?
Eight inches.
8 inches. Now, do I have an 8-inch wall here?
Not yet.
Do you guys have an 8-inch wall in the family? If you do, pick 8 inches. If you don't, what can you do?
Duplicate.
In other words, you can start with this and you can edit the type. Let me just now clear the drawing, okay? So I can edit the type. Let me move this out of the way here. So now what I'm gonna do, I wanna keep the 12-inch wall because I might be using it elsewhere, and I will be using it elsewhere. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate this wall, and I'm gonna call it, I'm gonna take away the 2, I don't need the 2 anyways. This is just a name for you to remember. I'm gonna call this one an 8-inch wall, not a 12-inch wall. So therefore, I'm gonna create an 8-inch wall type. Press OK. Now I just renamed it, okay? I haven't done anything yet, so I have to go edit here and change the thickness to 8 inches. And then once I've changed it to 8 inches, now I've created a type 8-inch foundation wall. And I press OK. Now I've got an 8-inch wall. And that's because I came in here and I modified the thickness. If I press OK, now I'm ready to put in an 8-inch wall. Okay. Now, the other thing is that if you look at the properties palette, the base constraint is 88.33. They're saying, is that where you want the wall to go down to? Yeah, that's where I want it to go down to. If that wasn't the case, I would change it. Okay, so in this case, that's exactly where I want it. Is the top constraint at level 91.33? Yeah, the top constraint is exactly where I want it, 91.33. The only difference is that I want the wall to go up a little 6 inches above that. So what I'm going to say is top offset. This is top offset, and I'm going to put here 6 inches. So now what I'm telling the program is that what the program is going to do this calculations, okay? I'm sorry, I wanted to get my, oops. So what the program is saying is that, okay, you told me that I'm going to use this plane to put the bottom of this wall. I'm going to use this plane to put the top of the wall. But not only that, you're telling me to go 6 inches above that one. And that's what this does, the top offset. If all of a sudden this would have been 3 inches below 88.33, then I would have been bottom offset. And I would have put minus, and I would go downwards. Positive upwards, negative downwards. But that's not the case, so I don't have to worry about that. Now, so now I've physically told where in this vertical space this wall is going to go. Now I'm going to start placing it in the horizontal plane. Oops, mouse, okay. So basically, how do I want to place the wall? So these are all the ways I can place the wall. Do I want the finished face exterior? Do I want the finished face interior? Do I want the, this is what we talked about last week. Do I want it to be the center line? So if I look at my drawing, I can see that the 12 feet is from the face. In other words, the 12 feet is from here to the outside face there. So I'm going to put finished face exterior. Now, I don't care. If I make a mistake, I don't care. I can always move things over. So if you do make a mistake, put it in and then just change things around. That's all you need to do, okay? So that's where I want to do it. Fair enough. And is there anything else I need to say? No, that's basically it. So now all I gotta do is go somewhere in my drawing area. So if I come here, this is where I start. I come up, and of course I can do two things. I can either put in that dimension 12 feet, enter, and it's gonna go right up to 12 feet right away. And then I'm gonna go over by another 10 feet. So I can put in 10 feet here. Oops, no, sorry. I should have come down. Hold on, let me do that over, delete. So, because I was looking at the drawing and I wasn't looking at my drawing area. Structural wall, 8 inches. Everything stays the same, right? Nothing's changed. Yeah, I double checked that. Exterior face outside. Like I said, I drag up from that point there. Now I can drag up until I see 12 on the screen, or I can actually put in 12. Okay, I go over by 10 feet. Sorry, yeah, that was doing it correctly. 10 feet. So I'm going to go over by 10 feet. Enter. Then I'm going to come down and just intersect that wall again. And if I'm happy with that, I press escape. And I'm going to clear my drawing. And there's the wall. Okay? Now, excuse me. Now, to make sure I did it correctly, I always go and I double check with the distances here. I say, what's the distance from my wall here to here? Well, 12 feet, that's exactly what I want. I always double check, because after that, if I do anything else with respect to this one, this is 10 feet, perfect. And then after that, if I want to go see it in 3D to make sure I put it in the right place, I go to my 3D view. And of course, I'm going to rotate. Okay, I can't see my rotation cube here. Yeah, I should. Wrong. Oh. Ah. I should have just rotated with the, okay. So there is my wall. And if you notice that it's sitting right on top of that footing, that's where I want it, okay? And even here, if I want to measure this distance here, okay, if I want to measure the height now, I go to distance. Okay, well, I can't measure it for some reason. Sometimes, so. Okay, and there's my wall. So if I want.
What is the top constraint of the wall?
91.33, that's the elevation that you started at.
Yeah.
I had that all on my sketch.
Okay.
If you're not writing these notes down, you should be right. You should be doing these calculations on your own and understand what we're doing, okay? So
Yeah.
that was all, I took that off my, and there's my wall. That's exactly where I want it. So now that wall is in.
Sir,
Yes.
how can I change my visibility setting? Because I can't see my, I can't see the drawing from level 91.33.
We're gonna have to go, it's gonna take a while, Jimmy. I have to go in there and I have to play around with your view range and so on and so on, understand?
All right, probably going to do later.
Yeah, so in other words, you can come back to the video and see how you do this later, okay?
Okay.
So, like I said, I apologize. Like these programs, it's not like AutoCAD. Everybody's on the same page unless you change something. They all have different variables, and I apologize.
Okay.
And,
All right.
and it
I'm
takes a
gonna,
while. Okay. Now
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to 102 here. Okay, and of course I see my wall. I see it at 102. I should be able to see at 91. Okay, Jimmy, do yourself a favor. You can't see your wall at 91.33.
no.
Okay, so go down to level 191.33. Go down, make sure you're on level 91.33. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and nothing else, right? Go to your properties palette.
Property palette.
The properties palette. This is the most important thing in the whole program. This little palette here. You see where you see this?
I'm on
That's
it.
called the properties palette.
Yep.
Okay. So pan down.
Okay.
Okay. Here, do you have a bottom range?
Bottom range. I can't. I didn't see anything.
Like see where it says underlay? Underlay bottom range.
It says none.
Okay, so click it open, make your bottom range the lowest level possible,
Okay.
86.33.
Apply.
The top range, what do you want it to be?
Oh, to be the highest, which is 140.
Go to 102, okay?
Okay.
Now, do you want to look down or do you want to look up? In other words, you want it, say looking down.
Looking down. Yeah.
Okay, you can change that at any time. Do you see your wall?
Oh, yes, I see now.
Okay, so now you've adjusted the range view for every level you have to do that.
Okay, okay,
Otherwise you won't see anything.
okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so now that wall is in, let's go back here. Now, I don't want to do this now. You should first put your opening in here, and then you're going to have to come in here and put in the wall. Because if you put in the wall, you won't be able to use the north elevation to put the opening in, okay? So let's go back, let's go to the north wall. Okay, we'll do that at the very end. So let's go down to the south wall, okay? Now, let's start by putting in, okay, I'm going to go back to 102 now. So everybody should be at elevation 102. And of course, now what I want to do is I want to put in the wall that's here. I want to put in that wall in there, in the model, okay? So where do we start, guys?
Whoa.
What are the few things I need to know in order to put this wall in?
Dimensions?
Okay, that's number one. I could see that very easily. What else do I need to know?
The elevation of the wall.
That's perfect. What else do I need to know? So guys, this is all the information you're gonna have to go gather in order to be able to place this wall in your model. So, I mean, are you gonna put in a 2-inch wall or a 10-inch wall?
It's 12 inch, sir. I think.
Christopher, did you say 12 inches?
Yeah, one foot thick.
1 foot or what did you say the wall thickness was?
Well, 12 inches. Yeah.
Repeat that, Christopher. 1 foot. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I agree with you totally, Christopher. Where'd you get that information?
The assignment 3.
Okay, that's good. But if you look at section GG, it tells you what the thickness of that wall is.
Section GG.
Yeah.
It also says it on the foundation plan, though.
Pardon?
Doesn't it also say it on the foundation plan?
I know it says it a lot of places. I'm just making sure that you guys know where to find it. You understand? It says it on the foundation plan, 1 foot. It says it on GG. And when I asked you what wall thickness we were putting in, nobody was giving me an answer. It's almost as if nobody was able to find that information. So I agree with you totally. You have it on the foundation. You have it so that you have a multiple place where you can find that information. So right now, okay. Well, okay. So right now we are going to. We know we want to put in a wall that's 1 foot thick. Do we have that type? Yes, we do, because these walls are 1 foot. So that, at least I don't have to go create a type. Now, what I need to do is decide what's going to be the top constraint, what's going to be the bottom constraint. In other words, where am I going to place this vertically in this model? Agreed? Now, I'm starting at 102, right? How far down does that wall go?
$91.33.
Okay, some of it goes down to 91.33, and some of it goes down to what?
89.33.
That's it, okay? Now, if most of the wall goes down to 89.33, I would make the wall at 89.33. You follow? Otherwise, because I know I have to create a step footing in that wall. So therefore, I can use one or the other, and then when I'm going to go and create my step footing, I'm either going to raise part of it or I'm going to lower part of it. Does everybody understand what we need to do? So which one do you want to, what do you want the base constraint to be? 91.33 or 89.33?
Is the step footing the same the like opposite way?
Well, if you look at the drawing, okay, like if you look at the drawing, and I'll show you where it is on this drawing so you can relate. I hope you made yourself a copy of this. If you don't have a copy of this, you're totally lost. So you should have a hard copy in front of you so that you can look at the information. I don't know how you're getting the information, but this is one of the things that I strongly suggest you do. But so for example, okay, if I look at the drawing right now, okay, like if the wall is going to be going in somewhere around here like this. Okay, it's going to be going in like this, it's going to be going in like this, and it's going to be going like that. That's where my wall is going in. Okay, now from here to here, from here to here, the bottom of this wall is going to be at 91.33. And then I'm going to have a step footing here, and this wall is going to drop down to 89.33. So I can either make everything at 91.33, then step it down, or I can make everything at 89.33 and then step this up. It makes no difference which way I want to go, whatever you feel more comfortable doing. So which way do you want to go, guys? You tell me.
89.33.
You want to go down to 89.33 and then we step this up. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yes. Jim, you have a question?
No, I just agree with it's starting with 89.33.
You agree? Jimmy, it makes no difference.
Yeah.
One, you're going to go down and bring the other part up, or one, you're going to go up and bring the other part down. To me, it's,
doesn't
you understand? It's just a question. Do you want to go, to me, they're both the same. Whatever you guys, I want to make sure whatever you guys feel more comfortable. Okay, so we'll go down to 91.33. Okay, so let's, in other words, we all agree. Now, the only difference is that if I look at the wall is just 6 inches below 102. Everybody sees that? Does everybody see that the top of that wall is 6 inches below 102?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are we
Okay.
looking at section GG? Is that right?
You can look at GG, or you can even look at the elevation EE. It tells you the wall is 6 inches below elevation 102.
So that's what we were figuring out. Okay.
All I'm saying is that that information is in a number of places. As long as you know where, okay, as long as the information is correct in all the locations, then it's correct. So in other words, so now I'm going to erase this, clear this drawing. Okay, so let's start. So first of all, we want to go to the Structures tab, right? Want to go to Structures tab. We want to go to Wall. We want to go to Foundation. We want to go to Structural Wall. I don't want to put an 8-inch wall. I want to put in a 12-inch wall. So now I've got the right type, and that's number one. Number two, look at, okay, where do I start? Okay, I have to pull this up, okay. Now, how do I want to place the wall? In other words, you could do that from here, okay. In other words, do you want the wall to be placed with the finished face outside, with the finished face inside, and so on? Now, if you look at the overall dimensions, okay, they seem to be placing the walls with the finished face outside. So you put finished face outside. But don't worry if you make a mistake, you can move, you can flip the walls, but you should take this into consideration, finished face outside. Now, you notice you have it here, you even have it here, okay? So that's one thing about Revit. Too many places that you can do this, okay? Finished face exterior. Now, base constraint, you guys want to go to 91.33. Now, if you want to go lower than 91.3 and you want to go to 89.33, then what you would have done here, since you don't have level 81.33, you just put -2 feet. And it would have brought down to 89.33. But you guys said, let's leave it at 91.33. Okay. Top constraint. Well, Top constraint, okay, that's where I want to start. Top offset, I don't want to go 6 inches above, I want to go 6 inches below. So therefore, I'm going to put this to -6 inches. I'm going to say apply. Okay, so that tells, like, I'm at 102, but I want you to actually put it down by 6 inches with that level. So now I've basically told the program where I want it in the vertical. Now I want to go place it on the horizontal, and therefore I come down here, okay? Now, where do you want to start drawing from? This side or this side?
Right side.
The right side? Okay, so where do I start? Do I start
from
there? In other words, am I at 9 feet 6 inches away from the inside of that wall? Where am I exactly? Where does that wall start exactly? Am I at I have 9 feet 6 inches. I don't know what you guys have on your thing, but I have. Does it start at 9 feet 6 inches from the inside of that wall?
Shouldn't it start like at 11?
At where?
11.
Why
Yeah,
11?
feet.
11 feet, because 24 minus 13 is 11, right? Is that how you got 11?
Yeah.
So that's where it starts, right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How far out do I go?
Eight feet.
I don't know. If I put the finished face on the outside, how far out should I go?
9 feet.
9 feet. See, but if you would accidentally put at 8 feet, not a problem. We would have just flipped the wall. I'll show you how to do that. So I want to go out 9 feet. How long is the wall in this direction? Guys, it's not my assignment. It's not my model. So you guys have to give me the information. Okay. How long of a wall do I have in that direction? Somebody calculate it, and if it's wrong, well,
58 feet 3 inches.
58 feet 3 inches. So can I drag to 53 feet, or do I need to put that value in? 58 feet 6. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, so 58 feet 3 inches. And of course, I go back to here. And if I'm happy with it, I press escape, and that wall should be where I want it to be. Now, if I go to my 3D view, oops, there is my wall. Now, of course, I have to modify this. I have to do the step footing, okay? But right now, there's the wall. Now, I go back to 102 just to make sure everything is good. So if I come to from axis number 2 to the end of that wall, I'm supposed to have 4 feet 9 inches here. So if I do a dimension here, from here to here, that's exactly where I want it to be. And if I look from axis 4 to the end of the wall, I'm supposed to have 13 feet. So I double check that. Oh, that's perfect. And the total length of this wall from outside face to outside face is supposed to have 9 feet. Yeah, perfect. So all the dimensions are confirmed with respect to the axis. So that's it. And of course, if I look at it in elevation, if I go to the east elevation, okay, so that's exactly where I wanted it, and I want it to be 6 inches below 102. So again, I can double check simply by give me a dimension from there to there, and it's exactly 6 inches below 102. as far, and it's exactly at 91 point. So this wall is exactly where I wanted it to be in my model.
Sir, could you do that one more time?
No, you can look at the video, Jimmy,
Okay.
because I have a lot of things to cover. You understand? So you're gonna look at the video, and you're gonna look at the video, and you're gonna follow what was on the video. Okay? So otherwise, we won't be able even to finish the course. Okay. Okay. Now I won't bother putting a footing in here, and the reason why I won't bother putting a footing in here because I need to create a step footing in here. Okay. I need to create a step footing in here. So therefore, whatchamacallit, I'm going to put a footing and then I'm going to delete it afterwards. So I won't bother putting one in, but I will go and put a footing for this wall here and this wall here. Okay, because that one I don't have to modify. So I'm going to go in here and finish putting the footing in here. So I'm going to go down to 91.33. Okay. And I'm going to go and put the footing in for these two walls here. So basically, to put the footing here, okay, I'm going to go to structures again. And of course, under wall footing here. Okay. Under wall footing. Now, it's going to be a bearing type footing. Okay. Now, I can start with this one, but that's not the size of the footing I want, because if I look at section AA, that footing is only 1 foot 4 inches wide. It's 1 foot thick. So therefore, I would have to edit this type. Okay, I'm going to edit this type. I'm going to duplicate it because I want to keep that one. And I'm going to call this 1 foot. I'm going to call it 1 foot 4 inches by 12 inches. So this way, when I go and look at the type, I know exactly which one I'm looking at. Press OK. Now I'm going to go modify here that the width is not 8 inches, it's 4 inches. Press OK. And now that I've got that, right, I'm going to select multiple because I'm going to select more than one wall. Okay. I'm going to select multiple. So therefore, I'm going to pick one, hold the control key, pick the other, press the check mark, and there's the footing. Now, don't worry about this because of my view range. I didn't adjust it here. But don't worry, if I go back to 102, there's my footing, okay? So, now, like I said, I'm not gonna bother putting a footing here because I'm gonna do you need to do the step footing in here, okay? So this is something you're gonna have to modify, the step footing in here, okay? And so you should be able to do that, and you need to practice that on your own. So you're gonna have to put the step footing in here, and then after you put the step footing, you're gonna have to be able to put the, so now we have 2 more walls to put in. We have the wall that is underneath the stairs here. We have the wall that's here, as well as the wall that's here. Okay, and I believe that's gonna be all the walls we need to put in. Let's finish with the walls, and then after that, we will slowly complete our model. So let's zoom in at here. Okay, now, the wall underneath the stairs, of course, will start approximately at elevation 91.33. So therefore, I should go down to level 91.33. And so here is my, excuse me. Okay. Guys, if you want, see where you made your step footing in this wall. If you want, you should be able to make the, if you want to keep it nice, you can try to make the step footing in this wall right in line with the step footing from that wall, okay? So therefore you can step it down there. There'll be one exactly beside each other. It's up to you. It doesn't matter. If you don't get exactly this point here, okay, it doesn't matter as long as you're approximately in that area. The footings don't have to be exactly lined up, but if you want, that's where my step footing is in this wall. And in this wall, I have exactly the same one here, okay? So now, okay, so now if I look at the stairs, and if I look at, for example, section EE, okay? If you look, it says that the wall happens to be, okay, if I look at it, it says that the wall happens to be right here. If I look at section EE, the wall is right here, somewhere here, okay? I don't see it in plan view, but I see it in section EE. And from this wall to this wall here, according to the dimension I see on top on section EE, from here to here, I have 13 feet 4 inches. So this wall has to be 13 feet 4 inches away from there, from the outside face to the outside face. So that's what I need, 13 feet 4 inches there. And if I look at the wall in elevation, right? If I look at the wall in elevation, the wall in elevation. Now, I have level, I'm going to be working just with one level to put this wall in. I have my level here. Sorry, I have my level here at 91.33. So I'm going to use that as my reference level, and I'm going to try to get all the dimensions that I need for that wall with respect to that level. So I noticed that the top of the wall is equal with the slab, which was 2 inches below the opening we'd made in that wall, okay? So in other words, if I do the calculations, 6 inches and 9 feet 4 inches, that's 9 feet 10 inches. That's from the top of the wall to the top, like in other words, from, if I pan out a bit, I don't know if I can pan out at this point. No, okay. If I pan out a bit, let me just, okay, so if you look, I'm going to redraw this so you guys can erase this, erase. Okay, so when I'm looking at elevation EE, okay, I have, I'll do it here so you guys can see it. Okay, I shouldn't have, I moved that along. Okay, so here, I have here, this is going to be 102, and this is going to be 91.33, okay? So basically, so this is 90, I'm sorry, this is 102 here, and this represents 91 feet 4 inches. Now, when I look at the, it says that from 102 to the top of the wall, you drop down by 9 feet 10 inches. Does everybody see that? See where it says 16 risers at 7 inches, that's 9 feet 4 inches, and then another 6 inches, so that gives me 9 feet 10 inches. So if I take 102 minus 9 feet 10 inches, well, that wall is going to be at 2 inches here. Okay, it's going to be at 92 feet 2 inches. So therefore, to go from 91 feet 4 inches up to 91 feet 2 inches, I know that the top offset of the wall here is going to be 10 inches. So I'm going to put it 10 inches above this level here. That's going to be the top offset. And then after that, all I have to determine, and then the wall is going to go all the way down to 89.33. So therefore, the bottom offset is going to be minus 2 feet. So by using this line here as being my top and bottom constraint and giving this information, the program is going to calculate 10 inches above, 2 feet below, and the wall is going to be 2 feet 10 inches. And that's what the wall is according to what I see here. Okay. So now I've got all the information I need to go put in the wall. The other thing I need to know is what's the size of that wall? Oh, I have a 10-inch wall. So I'm going to now go to structural wall. And I don't have a 10-inch wall. I only have a 12-inch wall. I have an 8-inch wall. So I'm going to start with the 8-inch wall. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to duplicate it because I want to keep that. I'm going to call this a 10-inch wall. 10. inch. This is just a name. It's not, it hasn't modified anything yet. It's just the name. Press OK. And then make it out of concrete. And now I'm going to edit it. And here's where I change the value to 10. OK. Now I've created a 10-inch wall. So I can close this. OK. Now I'm ready to put in a 10-inch wall. So what I'm going to do is look at the properties palette and say, where is the location of the wall? In other words, I want to locate it at the exterior face outside. Okay, that's okay. What's going to be the base constraint? Well, in this case, I'm going to use the same level for the base constraint as I'm going to use for the top constraint, 91.33. What's going to, oops. Okay. And here I'm going to use 91.33. So, okay, so now the top offset, so the base constraint and the top constraint is one and the same, okay? Or I can use, okay? I can put unconnected, okay? I can put unconnected to the top. So the base constraint is 91.33. Now I know that I want that wall to be 10 inches above 91.33, so I'm going to put top offset, the top offset here, unconnected. Oh. Or better yet, let me do something else. I'm going to make the bottom constraint 88.33, and I'm going to make 1 foot above it. And the top constraint is going to be 91.33, so this way I can do the calculation much easier. The base constraint offset from the bottom, I have to go down. I got to go up by 1 foot, so I'm going to put 1 foot, go 1 foot up, and with the top offset is going to be 10 inches above, so plus 10 inches. Now guys, don't panic if you don't get this correct the first time. You can always click on the wall, go back to the properties palette and change any property you want. So don't panic. It's not like once it's done, it's not unchangeable. On the contrary, many times I forget to do something. I just go back into the properties palette, I tweak it and I get exactly what I want. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind. So here I put my base constraint at 88.33, okay? I want it to be at slightly, I want it to be at, 89.33, so I'm going to go 1 foot above it. My top constraint was at 91.33. I want to go 10 inches above that, so I put the top offset at 10 inches. Now I'm almost ready, and I said I want the exterior face. So now, if I take this here, unfortunately, the drag point is from, like that's one thing I don't like about this program, is that when it takes the drag point, okay, and it has, so therefore that's 1 foot, and I want it to be at 13 feet 4 inches, so I'm going to put 12 feet 4 inches, and of course, and in theory, that's where the wall should be. So if I want to make sure I put it in the right place, like I said, I always double check my dimensions. I check from here, and that's exactly where I want it to be, 13 feet 4 inches away from there. Now, if I want it, now, I'm going to clear my drawing. Now, of course, the last thing I want to do is I want to go put in the footing. Okay, I'm going to go put in the footing, and therefore, go to wall footing. Now, if I look at elevation EE, that footing is 1 foot 6 inches. Unfortunately, I don't have a footing that is 1 foot 6 inches. So I'm going to start with 1 foot 4 inches. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to call this 1 foot 6 inches by 12 inches. So I know what type I'm using. Okay. And of course, here is where I change this to a 6. So it becomes a 6-inch wide footing. It stays as a 1 foot footing. Okay. Now I'm ready to do it. Okay. Select here, press the check mark, and there's a footing. So the footing's already in. Now, of course, you won't be able to see much because if I go to the south elevation, all you see here on the south elevation is where that wall is. Okay, and that's exactly where I want it. I want it to be in line with 89.33, and it's going to be 10 inches above. So that's exactly where the wall is. So now I put in the wall for the stairs. And that wall, guys, has to be put in precisely, because when we're going to go do the stairs, if it's not put in precisely, the computer is never going to give you the results you want. And that's why it's very important that you work very accurately with the program. Okay, so that's that wall. Now, what time is it now? So at 2:40, we'll take a break for 20 minutes and then we'll come back at 3. How's that? Okay, so now, yes, question? So do you guys want to put in the step footing into this wall here right now? What do you want to do?
Can you repeat, please, the question?
Do you want to put, because this wall here, okay, remember that this wall here has to be stepped down just like the wall you see behind it, like this. That's where this wall is coming down to. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what you can do to simplify your life, if you want, okay, this is to simplify your life. I'm going to show you, okay, so let me just show you something. Clear the drawing, okay. Now, I'm going to go back to 102, okay. I know that this wall here, well, I know, if I look at the drawing, that wall there happens to be at elevation 89.33, right? Excuse me. And, excuse me, that wall there happens to be at 89.33, and it has the footing width of that wall is, where is it? Where is that? Is 1 foot 8 inches. Okay? That's the width of the footing underneath that wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a footing here, and I'm going to put a footing there. And then I only have to put in the step footing along this wall here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this wall here, okay? Right now, if I look at it, okay, I have it at 91.33, but I want it to be 2 feet lower. So all I have to do is tell the program, well, the base offset here is -2 feet. -2, apply. And now if I go back to the south elevation, look what happened. That wall there dropped by 2 feet, and that's exactly where I want it. You see? So that's how I adjust that wall very quickly, just by telling the program, put it down by 2 feet. In other words, I had the base constraint at 91.33. It goes down to 89.33. Therefore, I do the bottom offset -2 feet. There you go. Now this wall here, you don't see it, but the wall that's here, that has to stay at 89.33. So therefore, I can go and put the footing in for that wall, and the only thing I need to do is do the step footing for this wall here. Okay? So I'm going to go back to 102. And I'm going to go to structures, and I'm going to go to wall foundations. Now, I'm going to be putting in a 1 foot 8 wall footing. I already have that type, so I don't have to go create it, right? Oops, sorry, 102. I'm not at 102, I'm still in my south elevation. Okay, so I'm going to go to footings, wall footings. I'm going to go put in a 1 foot 8 footing underneath the wall, but I'm only going to put one underneath this wall. Oops, I should have picked multiple. Hold the control button, that wall, and of course, press finish. And now I've got my footings underneath the wall. So if I go back to the south elevation, there's my footings. And of course, if I want to see it in 3D, there's the footing underneath that wall, and there's the footing underneath that wall. Okay. Now, don't worry about this here, because when you're gonna go create the step footing for this wall here, you're gonna automatically cover that space that's there. Okay, so let's go back to the south elevation. Okay, go back to the south elevation, and now let's create the step footing for this wall here. We might as well do it since we're here. So basically, if you remember to create a step footing, I'm gonna do it here. So if anybody, first of all, is everybody on the south elevation here? Are we there, or is everybody lost? Guys, I don't know. If you don't give me any feedback, I'm just assuming you guys are following and everything is okay. So let me know. We're good?
Like, how do you bring a wall down?
You put an offset.
Okay.
In other words, you pick the wall, like you go pick a wall. So in other words, where are you right now?
South side.
No, you have to, like you can't, you want to pick this wall here? Because that's the only wall you can pick on the south side, or you can pick this wall. You can't pick this wall or this wall on the south side.
Okay. How did you do those walls? Like, because the thing is that my whole thing is like the whole rectangle, the whole south side.
What do you mean the whole south side?
Like the whole wall that I picked is the full thing.
This one here?
No. The one
Well,
on.
first of all, you have to tell me what view are you at?
I'm at 2021.
What's
Not-
2021? In other words, you're at elevation 2021?
No, I thought you meant what year, like what.
What view are you looking at in your model? Are you at elevation 102? Are you at the south view, or on the north view, east view?
I'm on
Where-
the south view.
You're on the south view. In other words, you're in elevation right now. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, my elevation is 102.
But what view are you looking at?
South side.
Okay, so if I'm going to go to the south side here, okay? Do you
Right.
see what I see?
Like the thing is that I cannot pick like one side of a wall. Like I could only pick the whole.
Yes, because that's the only wall you can pick here. In
No,
this view. In this view, that's the only wall you can pick. Exactly.
I mean on the left side, because like you could have like picked a little rectangle there. I cannot pick a little.
I picked that from this view. I went back to 102 and then I picked it from that view.
Is there a way like we like could cut sections of the wall and like?
Yeah,
play
we're going to
with-
show you. I'll show you how to do sections. But right now, Virgil, you're asking me to run when you guys don't even know how to crawl. You understand? I will show you how to do sections.
Okay.
All going to be like, but it's one piece building on top of the other. You understand? I will show you. Like, in other words, you want me to show you how to do a section? I can show you right now.
Okay.
Like, are you at elevation 102?
Yes.
Okay. So go to the view tab. You know where the view tab is?
View tab. Nope. Can you show me?
Well,
Oh, view tab.
then you have to start understanding where your ribbon
Yeah,
is.
view tab.
Along the ribbon, you see view tab.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is view tab. So you see where it says section right under view tab?
Yeah.
So
Section.
you click on section. Okay, now you're ready to create a section. Now, if I take a point here, right, and I drag it over here, there is a section. Now, the problem is this is the depth of view of your section. I don't want to go all the way down there, so I'm going to drag this down because all I want to see is this part of my drawing. So you have to adjust the depth of view. And then after that, by double clicking on here, I see my section.
Wow.
But you see,
that was
Virgil,
my
you're
question.
jumping to, yes, there's a lot of things we're going to do, but take it one step at a time.
I think I had the bad vocabulary for this, but that was not my question. But that is one impressive command right there.
Of course, and I'll show you how to use it very easily because we're going to be using it at least 8-10 times in this model. You understand? And now because I'm in section, I can go pick that wall. I can go pick that wall. You see? But in elevation, I can't because it's behind the wall that's in front of it.
I meant by like sections, meaning like I want to pick my wall, and I want to cut it into sections.
Oh, you want to split it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a totally different terminology.
Yeah, I had the bad terminology.
Well, exactly. And that's why I keep telling you guys, learn the glossary. This way you won't be misinterpreted. Understand? Okay, so Virgil, don't worry about it. But you like this section thing, right? And I was going to show you this later on today, but I'm going to, as a matter of fact, I'm just going to remove it so this way people don't.
Because I see like how like to put my step footings like easier. It's like I put my wall into section and then I just insert an insulated footing.
Well, that's what I like. So right now I'm going to delete this. Okay. I'm going to delete the section so we can all do it again afterwards. Okay. There, it's gone. Okay. So now everybody go to the south view. Okay. Now remember, let me move this. I'm sorry. Okay. Now remember, if you want, you can double click on this. Okay. That brings you to south view. You have the south view here. This is where you can tile your views, or you have it in the view browser. I like to always go to my views browser to pick my views. So I pick my south view. That's where I'm at right now. Now this is the wall that we want to create a step footing in, okay, right now. So basically what we're gonna do is, of course, we're gonna pick this wall, okay? And this is the split tool is right here. Okay, and everybody knows where the split tool is, I hope, okay? Now, of course, I'm gonna split it right approximately where I did the other one, okay? So this way it's gonna be one on top of the other. Then I'm gonna move over 2 feet. Okay, that's all I need to split. So now my walls have been split. I escaped, I don't need to split it anymore, okay? So now this wall has to go down by a foot. So therefore I go to the properties palette here and I go to base offset. I put -1. Apply. And there it's going, and then this wall here has to go down by 2 feet. So I go here -2. Apply. And there we go. So now, see, and you see that the wall is exactly where this wall is here. Everything is perfect, okay? So in other words, so the step footing is gonna go from here, down to here, down to there, down to there, down to there, all the way over to here, come down here, come all the way back, and that's gonna be our step footing. So now that I split my wall and I've adjusted the bottom of my wall, what I'm gonna do is go to the Structures tab, press Model in Place. And of course, guys, it's very important that you categorize your model, because this way, when I'm gonna show you how to create schedules, if you put it in the right place in the program will be able to go get that information and do all kinds of other things for you. And of course, one of the things that the schedule does, it does quantity takeoffs, it does estimates. So I'm going to put structural foundations. Okay. So this way it's categorized correctly. Press OK. Now, first thing I need to do is tell the program, what plane am I going to use for you to do all your calculations? So I have to go set a plane. And of course, I'm going to pick one in this case. I'm going to say pick a plane. And I'm picking the wall. So the program now knows that I'm using the wall as my reference plane to do all its calculations. Once I told the program what to use as a reference plane, I go to extrude, okay? And of course, now I start drawing, okay? So in other words, I start drawing the outline of what I'm going to be extruding. So therefore, I said that I was going to start here. I was going to go all the way over here, go down to there, go down to there, go down to there. And of course, I can go all the way up to, I can either go up to here or up to here. It doesn't matter if I overlap. I'm going to overlap just to make sure, but I could go up to here because this one comes all the way to the edge. Go down to there, go all the way back. And of course, I want to come up to here. go up to there, go up to there, go up to there, go back to here. And of course, I got to close the outline. Once I'm happy with that, I press the check mark. Then I check to make sure that the extrusion ends. Now, if you always use the wall to do your step footings, and if you made the right thing, in other words, you want the extrusion to end 4 inches in front of you, positive, 1.5 foot behind you, negative. That's what I have here. I press apply, finish, and it's done. And if I go look at my 3D view, there's my step footing. Okay.
How did you
What I
do
should have
that?
done. Pardon?
How did you like, you know, cut the did the like escalator effect on the step footing?
I'm sorry. What you ask me?
Did you do the escalator effect on the step footing?
The escalator. What do you mean by the escalator?
The stairs, like the step footing.
This step. In other words, you're talking about this here.
Yeah.
Wait, look, why don't I do something? Why don't I share so this way you can maybe point at my screen. Let me stop sharing. I have to go back. And I'm going to have to put share with multiple. So this way you guys can come in and feel free to pick whatever you want. How's that? Okay. I apologize. I should have done it from the very beginning. I apologize. Okay. Share. So now you guys more than welcome to come and pick whatever you want. So are you talking about these steps? Which ones are you talking about? Virgil, I'm asking you a question. You're gonna have to answer me, otherwise I'm just gonna go on.
I was muted. Whoop. Whoop. I said like how did you like manage to do that function again? Like the step.
I showed this last week. I showed it 3 times and I did another time today. So by this time, you're gonna have to look at the video and practice. And write down, like
Okay.
last week I told everybody, write down the steps. Of course, I know them by heart. Why? Because I've been doing it for 10 years, understand? But eventually you should write down the steps because you won't remember what to do. In other words, split the wall, you know, adjust the bottom of the wall, pick a plane, and you have to do it in that order. And then after that, assign it to categorize what you're doing because you're gonna do model in space. So that's all. You're gonna have to write down the steps. And then after that, you're gonna have to follow the steps one by one. Now,
Yeah, I split the wall and everything, but like I think I deleted the bottom side of the wall. So like now it's not gonna appear in my drawing. But
so in other words,
I'll figure it out.
you deleted the bottom side of the wall. You can't delete the
Like
bottom side of the wall. You can only maybe delete part of the wall. So you're gonna have to show me your drawing if you want me to see what you did. Now, guys, you notice here, I don't know if you can see that, but you'll notice here that this footing is right in line with the wall and this one here. If you want to adjust that, okay, it's very easy to do that. Go down to the south wall, okay? If I go back to my, here, okay? Guys, so that's why, don't panic, okay? Like if I take this here, right? And I stretch it all the way to there, okay? And do that. If I go back to my 3D, there you go, I fixed it. So guys, don't, you know, if there's little things that don't look exactly what you want, you can go back and tweak it. You can go change it in the properties palette. This is all things that you can do, okay? So guys, there's the wall with the step footing, okay? And like I said, that's exactly what you want. This wall is exactly where you want. That's for the step footing and everything else. So, and if I go back to, sorry, so there's my openings and everything else, okay? And this is exactly what I want here. In other words, I want this wall to come back, step back up to this level here. So now you're starting to appreciate, when you looked at this drawing, all of this wall here was at one level, then it stepped down by 3 feet, it stepped back up to by 3 feet, and then at this point here, it stepped down by 2 feet, and it stepped back up. Here, they did it because they wanted to protect it from frost. Here, they did it because they wanted to create an elevator pit. And that's why they stepped them down. Okay, so now let's go to the north side. Okay, let's go to the north side because you need to put in that wall, that opening before I can show you how to put in the wall. So let's go to the north side. Oh, 2:40 break time. Okay, so guys, look, we'll take a break now. Let me pause the video. Okay. And I'm gonna go back to, of course, share this with you. So guys, I hope your model is looking somewhat similar to mine, okay? Now, what we're gonna do is, let's go put in the opening here in the wall, and let's go put in these walls in here, okay? Okay, so let's go, so therefore, to make this opening here, of course, I gotta go to the north elevation. So everybody click on the north elevation. And of course, the opening is between 2 and 3 here, okay? So for those of you that remember what to do, okay, you simply, you can pick the wall here, right? And, excuse me, and of course, I'm sorry, these menus are in the way, okay? Do a wall opening. Like I said, when I want to do an opening, guys, I simply pick a point, drag, and pick a point, okay? So this way, I just do it because I hate the way Revit takes this reference point. I'm gonna have to find out if there's a way. It's only after I do this, okay, that I can start adjusting these points where I want them to actually be. Understand? So this way I can use this information. I mean, I don't have to calculate from the center of this footing. And that's one of the frustrating things I find about Revit. Like, it's got some really stupid ways of, I don't know how they wrote the program, okay? But at least, okay, so right now, let me just, so there's your wall. And like I said, the opening for this wall is all in the, it's all in the, whatchamacallit, it's all in the EE section, okay? So basically, we know that this opening is 7 feet by 3 feet. So here I have 25 feet minus 7 feet, so that's 18. So I should have this at 9 feet and this one at 9 feet. So I'm gonna adjust one at 9 feet right away. And of course, when I adjust this one to 9 feet, look what happens to this one, it moves over. So that means I have to drag this one until I see 9 feet. Okay, so now I have 7 feet. Perfect, that's exactly what I want. Now, from the top of the wall to the top of that opening, if I look at section E, it tells me that it's 1 foot 6 inches plus 8 inches. That's 1 foot 14 inches, so that's 2 feet 2 inches. Therefore, I'm going to click this and make this 2 feet 2 inches. Okay, now what happens is, of course, it moved this up and also modified that. Now, excuse me. Now, the only thing I need to determine is how far, so I know, for example, the opening itself is 3 feet, okay? So 2 plus 3 is 5 feet 2, so I have to do the calculations, 5 feet 2 inches. So from 102, I'm dropping down by, excuse me, so if I know that from 102 down to elevation 91.33, 91 feet 4 inches, I know I have 8 inches, and therefore I do the calculations, I have 10 feet 8 inches, that's the height of this, okay? So 10 feet 8 minus 5 feet 2, so therefore I have 5 feet 6 inches, and therefore I'm gonna drag this down until I see 5 feet 6 inches. And now if I wanna, and that's where the opening should be. Now, if I wanna make absolutely sure that everything's okay, I can ask for a dimension. I go from there to there. That's exactly 7 feet. I like that. I ask for a dimension from here to here. That should be 9 feet. Oops, I didn't go all the way to the grid line. I'm sorry, to the axes. That's 9 feet. And this should be 3 feet high. So if I ask for a dimension from here to here, that's 3 feet. And from the top of this wall to this elevation here, I should have 2 feet 2 inches, and that's exactly where it should be. So the opening is exactly where I want it. I'm very happy, and of course, if I want to go see it in 3D, there's my opening. Okay. Now, guys, this opening was probably made so that they can vent this area, and therefore this would become ventilation. You know, this is where the vent would actually exhaust the air. That's what they probably built that opening for. Now, let's go back to 102. Now, guys, if you didn't put that in, don't worry. Once I show you how to draw cross sections, you'll be able to use a cross section to get that opening in. So don't worry about that. Or do you want me to give you a little bit more time to do that properly? Tell me what you want to do, guys.
That was good. Thank you.
You're okay, Emmanuel?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah?
Fine.
It's all good? Okay, so let's go to 102, okay? So now we're gonna go to 102, and of course, okay, again, with Revit, I need information. So I need to know, for example, I know that I wanna draw the wall in here, okay? So I wanna draw the wall in here somewhere, okay? So what I need to know is, of course, what's this distance here? What's this distance here? And so on. And of course, if I look at the plan view, okay, I know that that wall, this here is 7 feet 9 inches. So that I get from the plan view. This is 7 feet 9 inches. And in between here is 9 feet 6 inches. So I know that. Now, guys, I'm going to draw it incorrectly just to show you that don't panic. If you draw something incorrectly, you can move things, you can modify things. So it's not, once you do it, there's no turning back. On the contrary, sometimes you can just draw it in very quickly and then you can start playing with it, okay, here and there. So now, so if I do make a mistake, don't panic. So I'm going to clear the drawing, okay. Now, I know where it is on the horizontal plane. I need to know where it is in the vertical plane. So if I look at section EE, okay, here I have elevation 102. And they tell me that the top of that wall is starting at 8 inches below it. So I'm going to use 102 as one constraint, the top constraint, and then I'm going to have an offset of -8 inches. And that's going to put the wall there. And after that, I keep looking, okay? I look at the overall height of the wall, right? And I have to add up 8 inches, 1 foot 6 inches, 3 feet, 8 inches, 8 inches, and 8 inches. So I have to add up all those numbers to see what the total height would be. So once I add that up, if I didn't make a mistake, that should be 7 feet 2 inches. And I know that, excuse me. Okay, so I know that from the lowest point of that wall to this, from elevation from 102 is 7 feet 2 inches. And therefore, I need to know, for example, if I want to use the bottom as a base constraint, okay? I'm going to use 91.33. So 7 feet 2 inches. That's 8 inches. That's 2 feet 8 inches above. So that should give me the level from with respect to, okay? So here, what I'm saying is, I'm sorry, I should have drawn this like, the wall comes down here like this, okay? And it comes down here like this. So I want to add what all these values are here, okay? And if you look at EE, you have 8 inches, 1 foot 6 inches, 3 feet, 8 inches, 8 inches, and 8 inches. So that's 2 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet. That's 7 feet 2 inches. Okay, so you know that from 102 you got to go down 7 feet 2 inches, and you know that from 102 here, okay, all the way down to 91.33. I should know this, 102. I have 10 feet 4 inches. So therefore, if I use 91.33 as my base constraint, I know the offset has to go up 10 feet 4 inches minus 7 feet 2 inches, and therefore I have to go up by 3 feet 2 inches from 91.22. So now that I've got that information, what I need to do now is, what is the thickness of the wall? The wall is 8 inches, so I'm gonna still use an 8-inch foundation wall. So now I'm ready to put it in. So let's go. Let's go. Foundation, structural wall. Which one do I want to use? I want to use an 8-inch wall. That's what it is. Now, I'm going to use the outside face to actually place the wall, or I'm going to tell the program to use the outside face. So, like I said, you can do it from here, exterior face, you can do it from here. Now, the base constraint, we're going to start at 91.33. How far up above 91.33? Well, we said it was supposed to be 3 feet 2 inches. So I'm going to put 3 feet 2 inches above that level. The top constraint, well, it will be 102, but the top offset is going to be minus 8 inches. So now I've told the program where to put this thing with respect to the vertical space I'm creating, or that's available in the model. Apply. Oh, wait a second. I must have made a mistake somewhere. Top constraint is there.
Your top offset is 8.
I put 8 foot instead of 8 inches. You understand? That's the problem. Minus 8 inches. Oh, sorry. It's, yeah, minus 8 inches. Apply. So that's why I was getting the error message. So the program knows that what you're telling me, it doesn't make sense. In other words, I was saying minus 8 feet, which didn't make sense at all. So I'm glad it gave me the error message. Now, and guys, like I said, if I accidentally put the wrong information after I've installed it, I can go ahead and move it around. So there's no, like, I like to do it as precise as possible so I have less editing after, but there's no reason why you don't have to worry about, okay, so I'm ready to do this, okay? So there's my drawing tool. So if I start from here, we know that we're, according to the drawing, we're at 7 feet 9 inches away. Now, I can put 7 feet 9 inches, so that, okay, and I'm going to go out, according to the drawing, I go out 5 feet 6 inches, so I'm going to put 5 feet 6 inches, and then I'm going to go over, according to 9 feet 6 inches, I can either, okay, I have it there, 9 feet 6 inches, and then I'm going to go down and intersect this wall 90 degrees. And if I'm happy with it, I simply escape, and in theory, that wall should be in. Now, if I go look at it in 3D, let me clear the drawing first of all. I go look at it in 3D. How does that look, guys? Does it look pretty good?
Yeah.
It's hanging there. It's looking great, right? Now, what I'm going to do is, like, you notice that there's supposed to be a floor or like a slab at the bottom side of that opening. If you look at section DD, does everybody see that? There's supposed to be an 8-inch slab in there, okay? So let's go to 102. I'm going to start with this level here, okay? And I want to put in the slab. Okay, so basically slabs, believe it or not, are not, these are slabs on grade. They're not slabs. Slabs are floors for Revit. So this is a slab on grade. What we'll be putting in here would be a slab on grade, but what we put in here is not a slab. This is a floor for Revit. So therefore, I will go to floor, right? And I would say a structural floor, okay? Now, I'm going to use a 300 millimeter generic floor. In other words, this, I don't have concrete, 300 millimeter generic floor. Anyways, or if I want, I can go load a type. I'm going to show you how to do that next week, okay? How to load, because I really got screwed when I downloaded my Revit. I should have asked for more the libraries. I screwed up, my mistake. So I'm just going to use a 300 millimeter generic floor. It's concrete, doesn't matter. But I'm going to edit the type, and I'm going to, I'm not even going to duplicate this because I'm never going to use this because I'm doing everything in Imperial. I'm going to simply rename it. I'm going to call it 8-inch. I'm going to call it an 8-inch floor. Okay. And of course, I have to edit the thickness. So here I'm going to put in 8 inches. Okay. So I basically, and then of course here I can go and put the different values that I want and this and that. Okay. But we won't get into that. Only complicate things right now. I'm going to put okay. So I'm ready to put in that floor, right? Now, if you guys have concrete floor, use concrete floor, you modify it to an 8-inch floor, okay? Now, I'm starting at 102, but the floor, if I look at section EE, is about 5 feet 10 inches below 102. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say the, okay, the, excuse me, so this is 102, height offset here, okay? You'll notice I have height offset. I'm gonna put minus 5 feet, I said 5 feet 10 inches. In other words, the program is going to take 102 and it's going to go down to 5 feet 10 inches. And then all I need to do now, I won't worry about this. I can come and change this anything. As far as the drawing tool goes, since I'm drawing a rectangle, I'm going to take this drawing tool here, the rectangle. I'm going to go from here to here. And if I like everything, everything looks good, I'm simply going to press OK. Okay, would you like the wall? Just say no, don't attach. The worst thing you can do. And believe it or not, there's your floor. Now this here, okay, this is just showing you how the floor is spanning. If you don't want to see that in your drawing, click on it, okay, right click, and you just put hide element in view, and it's gone. So you don't, that won't bother you anymore. And of course, you don't see it right now, but if I would draw a cross section, and I'll draw one right now, and I'm going to show you how to draw a cross section soon, but if I draw a cross section, to draw a cross section, you have to go to view. Okay, if I draw a cross section here, and I double click on the cross section, there's the floor slab. You see it? Okay. Now, you'll notice that in the drawing, right, in the drawing, the floor slab, okay, let me just show that, okay. Like, you'll notice that in the drawing, the slab actually has a tilt here like this. It's not, doesn't, like in other words, if you look at EE, it has a slope here, it has a corbel, okay? What we're gonna do is I'm gonna go back and show you how to modify that. So let me clear the drawing. Okay. Clear drawing. So there's a slab. It's where I want it to be. And to make absolutely sure, if I look at EE, the distance from the top of the opening to the top of the slab should be 8 inches. So therefore, if I do dimension from there to there, that's exactly where I want it to be. So perfect. It confirms that I place it properly. Erase. Clear my drawing. And of course, go back to 102, or let me go back to 102. Now I want to delete this section because where are my sections? Let me just get rid of that. Okay. So now I'm going to choose either the east elevation or the west elevation. I'm going to do it on one of the sides, and then I'm going to let you guys do it on the other side on your own. Okay. So I'm going to go to the east elevation. Now, if I go to the east elevation, okay, this is the wall that I have put in, okay? And like I said, there's a wall, there's a slab on the inside, right? There's a wall here, okay? So now, what you're gonna do is you are going to tell the program that you wanna start modifying the profile of this wall, okay? So the way you do that is you're gonna go to the View tab, and under the View, not the View tab, is it the View tab? No, under Modify, sorry, the Modify tab, okay? Oh, it's been a while. Oh yeah, here you go. Here under the Modify tab, not the View tab, the Modify tab, you have Edit Profile. So this allows you to edit any profile you have, okay? And you want to edit this profile here. So basically, if I click on it, you'll notice that the profile is locked right now, okay? It's all locked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by unlocking everything so that I can unlock everything, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this line to the outside of the wall. I'm going to drag, okay? And then I'm going to drag this here because I want it to go there. And I'm going to drag this here and I want it to go there. And I'm going to drag this. In other words, I'm dragging what I want the profile to look like, okay? This here, I'm going to drag it to the outside of the wall and drag this one to the outside of the wall. Now, what I'm going to do is simply drag this one up to here. And then I'm going to take this one and move it up to that point there. And if I like that profile, I simply tell the program, okay. Lines cannot intersect, so I forgot to intersect this line, so therefore continue. I have to make sure that all the lines intersect. Oh, this one here. Okay, I have to change this one to here. And of course now, if I do it now, save the project. Now, the reason why I still see the one behind it, and that's because, did I lose you guys?
No, we're here.
But I somehow, okay, for some reason, hold on a second, stop sharing. I had a different screen popping up. Okay, share, sorry. So guys, like I said, okay. Now, the reason why you still see this, because this is the other side. So now you're gonna have to go to the other elevation and do the same thing I just did. And of course, if I go to my 3D view, if I rotate this properly, there you have it, okay? Now, what you can do, okay, you can adjust this wall very quickly by just simply clicking on the wall here, okay? And you can adjust that very quickly simply by telling the program that you want that to be, the base offset to be 8 inches above that. So this one would be 3 feet 10 inches instead of 3 feet, so 3 feet 10. And of course, there you go. So, oh, no, it's even higher than 3 feet 10. What did I say, 3 feet 10? 8. Anyways, so I should have moved that wall up. Let me go back to the east. So I'm going to pick this wall here, and I'm just going to tell the program, move it up to there. And there you go. I just moved it up. So you guys, like I said, don't panic. You can go back and tweak whatever you want to tweak. And of course, if I go back to my 3D view, you see that I have my core bell. I have, you understand? That's what the thing is. But in this view, I've modified the edge. Now you can do the same thing on this side. Simply go to the east elevation. I'm sorry. Am I on? I forgot which elevation did I do? I forgot already. Did I do the east or the west? I did the north. I have to go to the west elevation. West elevation, that's right. But now at the west elevation, of course, I can do the same thing here. Okay, so guys, like I said, now you got all the lines behind to guide you. So like I said, you click on the wall, you go to edit profile, you unlock everything, okay? And you move the profile where you want it to be. Unlock everything, so don't be afraid to unlock everything, otherwise nothing's going to move. And then, like I said, you start moving these things over so that where you want them to be. Okay, so just move them where you want them to be. Okay, just drag Okay, if you like the profile, which you've done, like I said, I can go back and tweak that a bit, but it won't make a difference as far as I'm concerned. Lines don't intersect, so I have to continue. I have to, oh yeah, up here, I forgot to move this one. So when you get the error message, guys, just let's look at the error message. This one should go up. All the lines have to intersect in order for the profile to be cut. I think I've done it all correctly now. If I press a check mark, there you go. So now if I go back to my 3D view, there I have exactly the same thing, you understand? Oh. Somehow I can't bring my turning wheel out for some reason. Anyway, it's like, so there you go. So, oops. There you go. So I have the same profile on both sides. Sounds good? So there you go. That you can modify profiles, and of course, we're gonna also cut profiles. That's another little thing I'm gonna show you how to do with Revit. So it's starting to look more and more like our model, right? The two last things we need to put in order to complete the elements we want to put in, we need to put in those beams. Remember that there's beams here, across here, okay? And that you'll see on in other words, if you look at section FF, that gives you the size of the beam. And if you look at the plan view, where the south wall is, it shows you where FF and FF are. In other words, you have a beam on axis 3 and you have a beam on axis 4. So I'll go back to what view do I want to work with? Well, I'm going to go to 102 again. And of course, this is where I'm going to be putting. Okay, so I'm going to be putting a beam in here. And I'm going to be putting a beam in here. So this is the two beams that I have, okay? And that's what you're seeing there, okay? So basically, if I look at FF, the width of the beam is 12 inches. That is B for Revit. B is the width. And the height of the beam is 10 inches, and that's the height. So basically what I'm going to do is, of course, go to structures. And now all of a sudden, I'm putting in beams. So this is the category, the beams. And of course, I don't want to put in a steel beam. I want to put in a concrete beam. So I'm going to start with the concrete beam here. And of course, that's not the size I want. So I'm going to edit this one. And since I'm never going to use this one, I'm simply going to rename it. And this way I don't have, it doesn't matter, but it's just, I'm going to rename it to a 12-inch by 10-inch beam. Always put the width by the height. So this is 12 by 10. That's just for you to remember. 12 inches by 10 inches. So you know that what type it is when you're going to go look for it in that family. And of course, this is where you have to, so B, guys, like I said, B is always the width of the beam, H is the height. So therefore, this is 12 here, or I can just put in 1 because that's the default value. And of course, this is 10 inches. Yeah, just to double check. Okay. So now I've got my beam, right? Now, where am I going to place it? Well, if I start at level 102, and I look at the section, that beam is supposed to be about 6 inches below level 102. So therefore, I'm going to say in the Y direction, as far as the top goes, okay, it's going to be at minus, oops, what's happening? Oh, minus 6 inches, the top offset. X and Y, no offset whatsoever, okay? And of course, what I'm going to do is I'm going to want to place it. So I'm going to place it here. To there. And that's the beam. Now, unfortunately, like in order for you to see it, I'm going to have to draw a cross section. So guys, let's all do this together. We might as well put the cross section in now. And then we're going to be using it after when we're going to be doing our stairs. We'll be able to see our stairs right away. So I want everybody to put in the cross section right now, okay? So to put in the cross section, I'm going to go slowly. Make sure you guys all follow me, okay? First, make sure I'm out of the command. So go to the View tab. View. Under the View tab, you have sections. So I'm going to click on section. Now, I'm going to start here. And don't worry if you make a mistake, you can flip these around and all that. Okay, I'm going to start about here and you can move them. So the section that I want to see according to EE starts at about here, a little bit after the second axis, starts at about here. And it goes all the way according to what I want to see in section EE, goes all the way to a little bit past the wall here. In other words, you want to see it here, okay? Now, what this is, okay, let me just clear the drawing here, guys, okay? This here is what they call the view depth. In other words, right now, if I do the cross section, all the elements that are within here are going to be shown in cross section. But I don't want to see all those footings and all that wall. So what I can do is I can drag this and see, I don't want to see that, I don't want to see that, I don't want to see that. I just want to see this in my cross section. In other words, I want to see the footings here, and I want to see all this stuff here. So that's how you crop the view. In other words, you modify the view depth. And of course, like I said, you can move these things around. Okay, you can move this over. Okay, you can increase the section view itself and all that. Okay, so you can do a number of things. And then if all of a sudden you want to do it the other way around, then you can rotate the view, okay, and so on. So there's a number of things you can do, but right now, so if you happen to accidentally do it the wrong way, you can flip these around, not a problem. So right now, if I did the cross section, and if I want to go see this cross section, well, right now I can either double click on the symbol and it'll bring me right to the cross section, and there's our beam. So that beam was 6 inches below where we wanted it to be. It's right smack there, and there's the beam that we've actually created. And here's the wall that we had created for the stairs. Now, I'm going to go back to 102. Now, first of all, is everybody okay with sections? Did you all create one? Do you want me to wait until you do it properly? So may I go on?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, like before, okay, now since I've got all the information here that's already been set for this one here, okay, I can go ahead and do structures, okay? I can go ahead and do structures, and again, do beams, okay? Go to beam, and again, pick the beam, okay, and this and that. This is all good, that's all good, and I can simply go and put another one here, and go from here, from that intersection, and go down to 8 feet, and there you go. Now, I could have done it that way, or like we did before, I'm going to remove it now, okay? I'm going to remove it now. I'm going to delete it. Or you could have also used, once you put this one in correctly, if you wanted to, you could have picked this here, okay? I could have used the copy command, okay? Just like before, use the copy command. And then, of course, I could have said, well, use this as the base point right here, this intersection, move it over, and go all the way to this intersection, and I would have had get exactly the same results. So I can use copy, I can put it in separately, it's up to you. And then if I, of course, if I go to my section, there's my 2 beams. Okay, so guys, if something is very similar, just like AutoCAD, once you place it correctly, you can copy it anywhere else into your model, okay? Now, is there anything we've overlooked, guys? What's the last thing we need to put in? We put in the walls, we put in this, we put in that. Oh, the stairs, right? Is that the last thing we need to do?
Yep.
There's nothing else, right? Everything else we've covered, I think, guys. Is there anything else we need to do? Because the stairs are the last thing I want to do.
Do we have to add the like flooring in that section as well, or no?
I wouldn't do it right now because if you do that, it's going to cover up all your footings.
Oh, okay.
So, but I'll show you how to do that, Emmanuel, okay? So like, we'll add that one after we've done the drawing for the foundation plan, okay?
Okay.
Or I can show you how to put it in. And then after that, once you've put it in, okay? Once you've put it in, you can hide it in view. It's up to you, but let's, like, so you understand how, like, if I put something on top of something, you won't see what's below it. Do you follow?
Yeah,
So
that
that's
makes
why,
sense.
that's why I don't want to put the floor in right now, okay? Or the slab on grade. It's not a floor, it's really a slab on grade. But I will show you how to do that, okay? Just remind me to do that after we've made the drawing from this, okay? We still have a lot of stuff to do before we can actually pull a drawing out of this model. Trust me, okay? We're just starting. Okay, now the stairs, guys, don't get discouraged if it doesn't work out the first time. When I was started with Revit about 10 years ago, the first time I tried to do the stairs, the program was so finicky, I spent about 4 to 5 hours to put in one stair. That's how finicky the program was. It gotten better over time. But what you have to remember about stairs is that the stairs are always put from the elevation, the lower elevation to the upper elevation. That's what you have to remember about Revit. You cannot go like do the stairs from the top to the bottom. It does the calculations from the bottom to the top. That's number one. That's what you have to keep in mind, okay? Now, so since the stairs start at this elevation, well, we're going to use this elevation to reference the bottom of the stairs, 91.33. Let's go down to 91.33, okay? Okay, so now I apologize. Like I said, I haven't adjusted my view for this level, and that's where you start, because my view has been, I'm going to fix it one day, but right now, don't worry. These are my, I know that these are my foundation walls and so on and so on. Okay, so this is where I'm going to start. This is the level at which I'm going to start placing my stairs. Now, for stairs, you find that under the architectural tab, okay? So you have to make sure you click the architectural tab. Everybody click the architectural tab, okay? Now, once you click the architectural tab, these are your stairs, okay? So here, stairs. Now, if you do not want to have a railing put in right away as you're drawing your stairs, come to railing here and just put none. This way, the program will not automatically put in a railing. This way, you won't have to go back and delete it afterwards, because AutoCAD will automatically put in a railing if you do not turn it off. Okay, so just go press OK. Now, what you want to do is you want to go in there and see if the stairs that they have here, okay, is the stair that you want to actually put in. So I'm going to go and edit the type. Okay, and I'm going to call this, oh, I'm sorry, first of all, I picked the wrong one, cancel. So I want to go pick a concrete stair. Okay, so therefore monolithic stair, that's number one. Make sure you pick monolithic stairs. I picked a regular step, okay? Make sure you pick monolithic. Now, I'm going to go edit this to make sure that I can put things that I want the stairs to look like. So I'm going to press edit type, okay? Now here, okay, this is where you tell the program the things you wanted to actually use to do to calculate this particular instance. Now, maximum rise, okay? Now here, the code, if I was doing this in metric, okay, the code does not allow you to have a rise more than 200 millimeters in a residential house. And then it's even smaller for a commercial one. I don't remember off the top of my head. So here, if you want, you can put the maximum rise, what the code requires here. So in other words, I can put here, for example, maximum rise 8 inches. It doesn't have to be your rise. It's just, you don't want the program to ever use anything more than that. So this way you can conform to code. As far as the minimum thread goes, okay, I believe the minimum thread according to the code is 925 millimeters. Anyways, I think that's about 9 inches. So don't go less than 9 inches, okay? So that's just so that the program does not make the thread too small. First of all, I hope everybody understands a stair has a riser and it has a thread, a riser and a thread, okay? Now, as far as the width goes, if you look at, we have a width of 8 feet. So we might as well put that in right away. So this way it will draw it right away at 8 feet and we won't have to modify that afterwards. So let's put in 8 feet. Okay, now, does anybody know what a nosing is? Does anybody know what a nosing is on a stair? Has anybody ever heard that term? Okay, have you guys ever seen, walked up stairs, concrete stairs, that this is the top of the thread, and then it goes down, and then it goes back in here, and there's a riser? They look like this?
Yes.
You've seen that?
Yep.
And sometimes they can have this rounded or whatever. Well, this is the nosing. Okay, and this is this here is a thread. This is the nosing, and this is the riser. So these are terminologies you guys are I'm surprised that this is something they should be teaching in construction 1, and this is something that you guys should remember for the rest of your life. Understand? Anyways. So right now I don't have a nosing, so therefore what I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to click on these 3 little dots here, and I'm going to say that, okay, so here you go. Now, what is the thickness of the slab? If I look at my drawing, if I look at EE, they say that the slab thickness underneath those stairs is 5 inches. So I'm going to modify this to 5 inches right away, so the program will put the right thickness right away. 5 inches, okay? And as far as, now, do you want the risers to be slanted? No, you don't want them to be slanted, okay? What is the length of the nosing? Well, I don't want one, so I'm going to put 0. I don't want a nosing. I don't want it to be slanted, and so on. And don't worry, guys. If you didn't come and change these, and you started to do your stairs, and you saw a lot of things, you just could come back and modify it right here, and it's going to modify it right away. So don't panic if you don't remember to do all these things at the beginning. So that's it here, and so everything looks pretty good. And if I forgot something, well, once I've drawn my stairs, if I see something's not right, I'll come back and try to tweak whatever I need to fix. But for now, so far so good. I'm going to say apply. Okay, apply, press OK. And basically, so I'm telling the program, don't make the riser more than 8 inches. Don't make the thread less than 9 inches. And of course, make it 8 feet wide. And the calculation rules, I don't want to get into it. As far as the nosing goes, I've eliminated it and all that. So I'm pretty well ready to say OK. Now, here I am starting at elevation 91.33. But if I look at the drawing, okay, the stairs are really at 92 feet 2 inches, not 91 feet 4 inches. Therefore, they should be 10 inches above 91. So the base offset here should be 10 inches. So here I'm going to put 10 inches. Now, once I put 10 inches, if I make the top level 102, if I look at it, I see that the stairs are 6 inches below 102. So the top offset should be minus 6 inches. And as far as I'm going to put apply, okay. Now the desired number of okay. Here I can try to put this to 16. I'm desiring us to have at least 16 of them. I can try to put that in, see if it accepts it, okay. And the actual thread length here, I can try to put in 10 inches. Let's see if that helps for the program to do the calculation a little bit better. I'm going to try to put 10 inches here because that's what I actually want. It might not even recognize that, but that's what I'm going to say, apply. Now, I basically gave it the general information that I want. So now, this is the type of stairs I'm putting in, a straight stair. So the stair starts at right here where this wall is. Don't take the footing, take the wall, okay? And then simply drag it out to the end of the other wall, and you should hit 13 feet, okay? And in theory, if everything's correct and you press the check mark, if everything's good, it should just put it in right away. And there you go. Now, I don't see it, but if I go to my cross section, if I go to my cross section here, my building sections, there's my stair. You guys see the stairs?
Yeah.
Okay. But you see, look, it didn't calculate it properly. Look, it stopped there. It started correctly, okay? And so in other words, I have to go back and start tweaking this. In other words, I have to go back to elevation 102, sorry, 91.33, and see if I can actually take this stair here, take the stairs, well, because, and move it to here. Okay, try to move it to there, see if that worked. See if that worked, and so on. And I don't know if that did modify it, like I said. And this is the frustrating thing about stairs, because sometimes the program doesn't do the calculations properly. And of course, you got to go in back and forth, start tweaking back and forth. And again, it didn't work. So if I try to do it here, nope, that just switches it around for me. Okay. And this is where you start getting frustrated with Revit, because you think you put in all the information in correctly, you told it what it wants, this and that, you told it what you want, and it just didn't do the calculations properly. And this is one of the most frustrating things I find about Revit. So right now, if I go and measure these steps from here to here, instead of having 10 inches, I have, okay? So therefore, that's incorrect. And I got to go back and try again and keep tweaking until I finally get, okay. And then the other thing is that I found out that now, I don't know if you guys can see it, but right now, as far as the stairs goes, I can no longer see my stairs in plan view if I'm using the structural template. So I don't even know if I'm picking the stairs correctly. So I'm going to go back to 102. I want to see something. So here you go. In 102, it might be a little bit clearer. So here I pick this. And I don't even have any drag points here anymore. So I tried to move that there, but then it moved it here. And that's the frustrating thing about Revit when it comes to stairs. Like, and sometimes you're lucky enough, and like in this, and I apologize, I even went to Autodesk and they said, there's a problem with the structural template in 2020. It does not show the stairs in plan view. So guys, like, I apologize for what Revit is doing here. I mean, it's not me, it's really the program. And some brainiac at Autodesk had made a change to somewhere in the, probably in the algorithms of the program, and I cannot, it does not work. I cannot see my stairs in plan view. And that's really stupid. I'm going to try something. Yeah, I can't see them anywhere. So like I said, this is the frustrating thing about Revit. Sometimes you can get it right away. And like I said, you keep tweaking and tweaking until, there you go. And then it moves it back. And it was like, oh, I'm telling you guys. And sometimes I get so frustrated that I simply go in to here and I say, just delete it. And I try to start all over again and see if I can get it back to do what I wanted to do. And that's what I was saying. Like sometimes, I don't know for what reason, but I know that this is exactly where it's supposed to be. From here to there, that's supposed to be 10 inches above that. That's exactly what I have. This is exactly 6 inches below here. Yeah, and then here, I can have from here to here, I'm supposed to have 13 feet, well, 13 feet 4 inches if I would have gone perpendicular. So I know that that is correctly placed in the model. There you go. So everything seems to be right. So sometimes what I do is I try to go back and I try to say, okay, let me play around. Why don't you want to do what you need to be doing? Cancel. I'm going to go back to, of course, it's telling me that I can't put the stairs. I can only put the stairs in plan view. So I'm going to go back to 91.33. Oops. I accidentally closed the project browser. I mean, the properties palette. Now I'm going to go back to stairs. And of course, I'm going to go back. I'm going to edit something here. Now I'm going to see if I can have a maximum riser of 7 inches instead of 8 inches. Maybe that's going to influence the program to do the calculation. The minimum thread to be put 10 inches instead of, okay. And maybe that's going to help me get it put in a little bit better. That doesn't change. Apply. Okay. And then, of course, use this drawing tool. It goes from here to here. Now, it looks pretty good. It looks like it's going from where? No, is it? Am I going from there to there? Oh, I forgot. Okay, so base offset. So I got to go back and change this. 10 inches top offset minus 6 inches. And guys, trust me, it's very, very frustrating when it comes to, I mean, you look at them putting stairs, they put them anywhere they want. Yeah, if you do that, not a problem. But when you want to put them precisely from one end to the other, the program has a lot of little bugs in it. And unfortunately, I'm going to cancel this. Yes. I can start over to make sure everything is good. Again, like I said, once I spent about 4 hours to finally get this thing right. And like I said, let me go back to here. Just to make sure everything is still what I want. No, see here, I want to put 7 inches. See if this is going to affect the calculation. Here, I'm going to put 10 inches. So this way, I'm going to force it to calculate a certain way. And 8 feet, that's good. Apply, blah, blah, blah. Apply. Okay. Now, I want to go from there to there. And then all of a sudden, it says the actual thread length of the stairs is less than the minimum thread length specified. Okay, and I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know how it calculates the stairs. I never wrote the program. And if I press save project, now if I want to go see if it did it correctly, of course I can't see it here. I can only see it in section. Therefore, I go back to the cross section. And of course, look what happened. So this is no good. I forgot to put 10 inches here. I forgot to put 10 inches, and that's what threw all the calculations off. Apply. And of course, I should be able to, now if I go back, it's almost there. So therefore, I should be able to go back and maybe adjust. And that's like I said, guys, you got to go back and forth until the whole thing. And you, before I would have been able to drag this back and be able to play with it. I can't even do that anymore. I literally got to. But now it's gone, so I start all over again, and I keep going until I finally get it right. And that's the guys, like I said, stairs are very, very frustrating. And unfortunately, like, because when they show you stairs, they just this is what they do in the demo for stairs. Let me show you, okay? This is what they say. Oh, Revit, you want to do stairs? Okay. I'll show you. You want to do, excuse me, you want to do stairs? Cancel. And this is what they do in Revit. They want to show you, okay, you want to put in the stairs. Very simple. Well, here's stairs, okay? And of course, they start and they say, well, do you want to do this type of a stair? Yeah, okay. Or do you want to do a straight stair? So therefore, start here, go across there, and so on, and click there, and then, okay. And then you go to your 3D view, and then they show to you that your stairs are in. And of course, you don't see anything because it's hidden in the 3D view. So you say, reveal hidden objects. Well, there's the stairs. And of course, you put unhide in view. And of course, now you can go back and see your stairs. And then they show, there's your stairs in Revit. That's how quick it is. Yeah, that's when you're not placing it anywhere. It doesn't make a difference. But when you want the program to put exactly where you want it, and you give it all the right information, somehow the way that it does its calculations, it doesn't do it correctly. And it sometimes it gives you the right results, sometimes it doesn't. So like I said, don't get frustrated if you don't get it the first time, don't get frustrated if you don't get it the second time. Eventually, and those of you that can actually see the stairs, well, you can actually drag with it. I can't even do that anymore in the structurals model, okay? I know that I can eventually put it in correctly. If I'm gonna try it one more time, and if it's incorrect, I'm gonna leave it like that, and I'm gonna adjust it. I don't wanna waste your time. I'm gonna go and adjust it during the week when you guys are doing your stuff. So I'm going to, now, of course, edit type, make sure, yeah, that's exactly what I want, okay? Now, let me make sure I don't put the wrong information here. 10 inches. Top elevation, -6 inches. And everything else, top constraint, base constraint, make sure the top constraint is where I want it to be. That's right, apply. And hopefully now, I'm going exactly where I want it to be. And I press OK. And now let's go see the cross section. And again, it didn't do it correctly. You see that? So guys, like I said, and because I can't see it in my view, I can't even stretch it. Okay, all it does is moves it. So like I said, I'm going to, so guys, just put it in, and like I said, once I figure it out, I'll give you all the right parameters, and therefore we'll put it in correctly. But for now, just leave it in incorrectly, and if it doesn't want to do it correctly, like I said, sometimes it's not you, it's the program itself. I can show you another model that I did. The stairs are incorrectly. Why did it work in that model? If it's not working in this model, I'm giving you exactly the same information. And this is the frustrating thing about Revit, unfortunately, okay? Okay. Okay. Like I said, oh, maybe I started the wrong place. I don't know. Yeah, that doesn't work. So, you know, like, that's why, guys, don't lose the faith. Don't get frustrated. I'm frustrated for all of us. And unfortunately, yes. And there you go. Is that what you want? No. And that's why, you know, like, this is where I really hate using Revit. And you try to find out why, and nobody can really answer you. So I'll try one last time. At least you'll know what to do if you guys want to try it on your own. I'm going to try one last time, and if it doesn't work, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to move on because there's other things I want you to show you how to do with the program. But I'll come back and work on this week and make sure I got it in properly. Okay, and if you don't get it in properly, trust me, I will not penalize you because it's not your fault. It's really the program's fault. So let me go back to 102. I'm going to try it one last time, and then I'm just going to leave it like that. And that's it. Like I said, they keep modifying things. I can't even see my stairs in the structural template. If I would use the construction, I tried using the construction template. It works perfectly. And since I can see it, I can actually drag it to where I want. I can tweak it. I can't tweak it here. So it's very, very frustrating. And like I said, one more time, stairs, top, this is 10 inches. Maybe what I'm gonna do then, on my own, I'm gonna start tweaking. Maybe it doesn't recognize the right values for some reason. 10 inches from that level, minus 6 inches from that level. And desired number, I want to have, the desired number is 16. The actual, desired number, I said was 16. That was my desired number. So you put in all the information, the actual thread length, okay? That's it. Look, it even tells you, this is what I've calculated. The actual rise is going to be 7 inches. The actual thread is going to be 10 inches. Everything looks okay according to the information here. I did the calculation. So in theory, everything should be okay. And now I'm going to go place it. So therefore, I can actually place it in the virtual space of the model. This is where I start. I move over. I'm exactly at 13 feet 4 inches. That's where I end. So everything should be okay. Press the check sign. And let's see what happens. And look, it didn't do it correctly. It stopped the stair there. You see? And that arrow just flips the stairs. That's what it does. It doesn't move it. So guys, like I said, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to go tweak. There you go. And the stairs aren't in correctly. So you tell me what the program is doing. I don't know. And I'm definitely not going to go and try to figure out where the program has glitches, because it definitely has a glitch. And I don't think that I put the wrong information. As a matter of fact, it even told me that the riser was 7 inches, the threads were 10 inches, and I gave it the right elevation there. It should have come all the way here. And of course, now, so I'll find out where the problem is. Once I put it in correctly, next class, I'll let you guys adjust your stairs and I'll tell you what you need to do so that you can overcome the glitch. If I can't, we'll just leave like that and that's it. We're just gonna work with this the way it is. But I'm pretty sure that, like, I'm very curious to know something here. The distance from there, that is 10 inches. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. See, it didn't put in the 16th, and that's why it's one short. And so maybe I'm going to, like I said, guys, maybe I'm going to tweak it so that it puts in 16 of them. Anyways, but for now, I'm just going to leave it like that. Sorry about that. I apologize. Like I said, I will find out what the problem is, and if I can't find it, well, I'm just going to restart it I'm going to probably restart this whole thing on the construction template as opposed to the structural template. For me, it will be doing it. It won't take me very long, but for you guys, I apologize. We'll just live with it like that, and I won't mark it wrong because it's not your fault. It's the program. Okay, so now that we put in all the elements and all that, let's go back to 102. 102. If you guys can see something I did wrong while you're watching the video, let me know. I'm going to be looking for myself what I might have done wrong. I'm going to be going over this during the week sometime before next class. And if I can find what's wrong with it, well. Okay, now that we got everything in, of course, now we're going to have to start dimensioning stuff. Okay, so let's go and start dimensioning. Okay, so basically what I want to show you, okay, is, oh, I love this. Okay, so you're going to go to the Annotate tab. Okay, Annotate. So click on the Annotate tab. And these are the dimensioning commands. It's very similar to AutoCAD. Now, I know that in AutoCAD, you can use the command linear to do a linear dimension. Now, the problem with Revit is that when I use linear, okay, and I want to come and use linear, keep this in mind. See here, there's a drag point. So therefore, I can go to that point. Here there's a drag point, so I can go to that point. So with linear, if I have the two drag points, okay, I can literally use that command. So I'm going to just put it about here for now. Fair enough. But if I don't have this point here, like for example, if I use linear, and this is the thing that you guys have to remember, okay? If I use linear, annotate, and I use linear, for example, I want to dimension from here to here. Well, it worked this time because it's an edge, okay? But if I want to go from, you know, like what you do with AutoCAD, for example, okay? Now, if you can't get your dimension from linear, okay? Like for example, you want to go from here, I'm going to go linear again, I'm going to go from here to here. Well, it worked this time, fantastic. So if the linear command doesn't work because it can't find a place from where, okay? Now, if you don't like the dimension there, okay, you can just click on it, and if you want, you can move it over, and it's going to take it out and put a leader. So if you don't, that's a little bit nicer, okay? So that's how you dimension. Now, if for whatever reason you cannot find the program with the linear command, okay? What I tend to do sometimes, if I can't get it with the linear command, then I will use what they call align. Align, it picks anything. For example, I can pick here, and I can pick here, and I can align my, oops, okay? Stupid fucking program. So the align command allows you to go and pick like lines that it can actually snap to. Otherwise, the linear command, like I said, if it has a point there, has a point there, okay? And of course, now what I like about, okay, so you just keep, like I said, it's very similar to AutoCAD, okay, linear. Unfortunately, it doesn't have that continuous command. Oops, so I must have screwed up here. So I'm going to move this back. I'm going to drag this back to here. And if that doesn't work, well, I'm just going to delete it and start over. It's because I was a little too quick there. So linear, like I said, from here to there. And there you go. And then, of course, again, so now you can dimension everything. I don't know why it doesn't stay on the Annotate tab, linear. Okay, and then from there to there, okay. And you notice that that one didn't work. So then whenever that does, I simply go to a line. I go from there to there, and now a line works, you see? And of course, I can move this outside to make it a little bit neater. And now I can go with the align command. I like to use the align command. So this way I don't have to worry about drag points. I like to use align all the time as opposed to linear. Okay, so I pick, like I said, I pick that point, and I come up and I place it where I want. And of course, see, the nice thing about what Revit does is that it automatically trims this line so that it doesn't interfere with the text. Whereas with AutoCAD, you'd have to break it and so on and so on. So it has its little perks, okay? Oh, I've already put a north arrow here. Well, I put this in before, so I'll show you how to do that. So that's how you dimension, okay? That's number one. And of course, you're gonna have to come in and put all the other dimensions in here. That's number one. Number two, okay? So once you finish dimensioning everything, then we start annotating the things that we want to annotate. Now, if you remember, okay, we had given these foundations specific names. So with Revit, once we gave it a specific name, what we can actually do is we can actually tag that name to that instant. So therefore, if you come here, tag by category, okay, and if I click here, where there's a tag for that one was F1. And of course, I could move it where I want it. So I'm going to move it in here. Okay, now I'm going to zoom in and put it as nicely as I can, wherever I want it to have it. That looks pretty good as far as I'm concerned. Now, if you do not want to have this leader here, so what you do is do edit type. Okay. Sorry, cancel. Now, I'm going to put edit type and leader arrow none. Oh, sorry, okay. And see here it says end attachment. Just put free. Oh, where was that? I'm trying to find the orientation of horizontal. Oh yeah, leader line. Just click that off and it gets rid of that line. Just click the leader line there, it gets rid of it. And there you have it nice and clean. Now, what I like to do is that once I have one here, right? Well, and I like where it's positioned. And if I want to put the same thing all over, I simply use, I click on it, right? I click on it and I say copy. And now, of course, I want to copy multiples. And what I'm going to use is I'm going to use that endpoint right there. And I'm going to copy it to that endpoint. I'm going to copy it to that endpoint. Then I'm going to copy it to that endpoint. And I'm going to copy it to that endpoint. And I'm going to copy it to that endpoint. So they're all exactly where I want them. And they're all done. So you can do the same thing to all the other ones. Like I said, you want to tag this one. You can use the tag command. So if I say, you know, pick that, sorry. So tag, okay, so there you go. Now, of course, like I said, you can move it at any time. Okay, so now I can move this in here. Okay, and if that's where I want it, and like I said, once I pick it, I can go and remove that horizontal line, and there you go. And if there's other F5s, then you can either, now in this case here, right, you notice that there's an F5 over here. Well, just like with AutoCAD, if I pick this, just like AutoCAD, you got a mirror command, and this is what you want to mirror it about. And of course, escape, and there you have it. So you have it right there, okay? So guys, you can take advantage of what you know about AutoCAD to place things in Revit. And the same thing here. So in other words, this is F4, F4, F4. So once I place my F4 in here, I simply would copy it and so on. So that's how you would tag or you would annotate all your footings. You can use a tag command because that's the name you gave it. It's very convenient. Okay, what else do I want to talk about? We talked about tagging. We talked about, oh yeah. Now, if ever you want to put in some text, right? For example, if I want to put some text in here, okay? So if I want to put some text in here, well, this is the text command. Now, notice that when I pick the text command, all my leaders are all here, okay? So this is where I can put my leaders and so on. So this is how you justify the text in AutoCAD. You can have it here, you can have the top, this and that. It's up to you, okay? So you can justify it. You can do a spell check, replace, just like with Word. You can find and replace things. So now, what you do is you simply, where you want your text to start. For example, I want my text to start here. And this is going to be, of course, I put my caps on, elevation dot space floor slab 92.33. And of course, it fits nicely there, so I don't have to do it. And then once I put it in, I can, start escape. I didn't want to put that extra text in there, so. Okay, so like I said, once you have this, you can move it around. Okay, you can place it where you want. You can rotate it if you want. Okay, you can stretch it, whatever you want. So that's how you put in some text. And like you see, the text should be all the same height. Okay, and of course, if you come in here and like if you go into the edit type, it tells you what the values of the height is. And it's sort of, if you want to, hold on a second. Where's the, I'm trying to find where the, anyways. So you can find out all this information. And what else is there to do? So we have that. So if you want to put in, like for example, okay, so that's, now you'll notice, okay, one of the frustrating things I found about Revit, okay, is the way that it actually shows the graphics of the model, okay? And that is very frustrating. And wait a second, is there anything? Oh yeah. I guess, oh yeah, so let's go in, okay? So with Revit, okay, it is very frustrating because this would look very poor if I would take this view right now and I would try to make a drawing with it, because, in reality, if you look, these lines are not supposed to be intersecting. These lines are supposed to be, trimmed and all that. Well, there's no trim command in Revit. There's no this, there's no that. But you have to do an extensive amount of line work with Revit to get the drawing to look half decent, okay? So if you go to the modify command, okay, this is the command for line work. So I'm going to do that again. Okay, if you go to the modify command, line work. Okay, now here are the different line works that you have with Revit. In other words, you can draw hidden lines, you can draw lines, medium lines, path lines, thin lines, wide lines. You can also ask for lines to go beyond the projected view. You can have the lines go by category. You can have invisible lines. So if all of a sudden there's something in the view that I do not want to see, I will leave it on an invisible line. And if I zoom in here, you'll notice that this little line should not be there. So I tell the program, well, make that invisible. Oh, wait a second, how come it's still there? That's because there's an upper edge and a lower edge to that footing, and therefore by clicking it again, it's gone, okay? So that's how you have to clean up the drawing. So you have to, for example, here, make this line invisible, and it's gone. You have to do it twice because remember, the footing has an upper edge and a lower edge. You have to remove both of them. Now, what's going to happen sometimes, okay, what's going to happen sometimes, you're going to come in here and you're going to pick this line to make it invisible. Oh, it worked, okay? And then here, all of a sudden, you make it invisible, and guess what? The whole line disappeared. Well, don't put it back. What you do in that case is, okay, then what you do in that case is you're going to put, you're going to go to annotate, okay, and you're going to put in a line detail, okay? So you're going to put in, and this is only going to be for this view here. You put in a line detail, and here you're going to be putting a regular line, okay? So therefore, you can go from that endpoint to that endpoint, press escape, but you're still in the command, and you go from that endpoint to that endpoint. Now, the line is green, doesn't matter. That's just to let you know that that's an annotated line. It's not a line that the program used to draw the edge of the instant. Now, if you want to have it black, then what you can do, okay, if you want to have it black instead of green, it's up to you, but leave it green and then you can actually print in monochrome. It's all going to be black anyways, but if you want to see them in black, you go to, excuse me, these menus keep popping down. You go, you know, when you don't want it, you go to the Manage tab, okay, where you have additional settings, okay, and excuse me, and you have line styles, okay, and of course here you have, okay, you have green. These are all the line styles that are, okay, here you have green ones. So we have lines, this is green, and of course, where's lines here, okay? So if I double click on it, I can make it black, okay, and I change that to black. And if I pick the right one, I'm assuming I picked the right one, I press apply, okay, and there you go, the line became black. If you want to make it back green, you can make it green again, but that doesn't matter because when you're going to be printing your drawing, plotting your drawing or printing it as a PDF, you're going to be using monochrome, it would make it black anyways. So that's the frustrating about AutoCAD, that you have to go around and do all the line work so that your drawing starts looking pretty decent. You see? So, and then this you got to clean up. Now, in here, for example, you notice that if you look at the drawing, you have a hidden line in here. So therefore, what you would do is you would tell AutoCAD or you would tell Revit, you'd say, okay, let me do, go to annotate, go to a line detail, and this time I'm going to be putting in a hidden line because it's going to be hidden line, okay? And I'm going to go from that point to that point, okay? And of course, there, because it's dashed, that represents the hidden line. Now, if you don't want it to be green, again, like I said, what you can do is you can go to Manage, go to Settings, go to the Line Styles, and open up, go find where hidden is, and change this, double click on it, and change it to black, okay, apply, okay, and it's black. Now, if you want to modify the dithering, well, you have to go back into the, okay, you're gonna have to go back into the additional settings. You have to go to line styles. You're gonna have to open this up, okay? And if you don't like the dithering, this was hidden. Where was it hidden? Hidden here, okay? Okay. Then you can modify here how the dithering is going to be if you want to do it. So you start playing around with it. In other words, this is where you modify, okay, the dithering if you want, or you can actually load a different lifetime. It's up to you, okay? But like I said, if it looks okay, leave it the way it is. You can also play with that. So there you go. So now you've got your hidden line now. You notice that this line here, okay, this line here goes over, okay? So therefore, what I want to do is I'm going to go to, I hate these menus that pop down, go to modify. Now I'm going to go to some line work. I'm going to make it invisible. I'm going to pick this line and I just made it invisible. Now the whole thing went away. Doesn't matter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to annotate. I'm going to say put in a line detail. I'm going to go from that line to there. Oops, sorry, I picked the wrong one. And of course, Don't worry, because I forgot to change, like if I go to annotate, stupid menu, please get out of my way. Modify. Okay, I forgot to put this, okay. Of course, I had to make it invisible first. I'm going to delete this line. It's just a detail line. Oops. Wrong time to ask me to save. There, it's gone. So now I go back to annotate. This is one thing I'm getting tired. Line detail, make sure you put it on line, not hidden line. Otherwise it's going to draw a hidden line. Go from there to there, and of course, escape. Escape to get out of the command completely. So now you've cleaned that up nicely. And of course, now you're missing the line from there to there. So you're going to go back to a detail line. I should have just stayed, make sure I'm in line from there to there. And there you go. So that's, like I said, now these here are hidden lines. Okay, they should be hidden lines. Therefore, you can change those to hidden lines. Okay. So what you can do is, you know, you can delete them and just put a hidden line there. That's how you would take care of this. Like I said, you're going to do line work. The line work is a little tedious, but it does make your drawing look the way it's supposed to look like. And this is one of the things I will expect you to do for next week. Have all the line work done. Basically, what I want you to do for next week is have all the line work done, have all the annotations put in. I showed you where the leaders are. The leaders are underneath here. So you can have a straight leader. You can have a, you know, so for example, you can have a leader, put in a leader. So if you need to put in leaders, this north arrow that I have here myself, I found that in the annotation tags, a north arrow. So I just put it in. That's how I got that. That was in the, I loaded that from the family. I'll show you how to do that next week. If we have time, I'll show you how to do today. But like I said, so I like to sort of like methodically go around and start working with my stupid. Okay, so what I like to do once I start doing my line work, I like to complete my line work. So what I like to do is start here, make my lines invisible. So I make click there, see if it gives. Oh, that's the result I want. I don't have to do anything else. Click there, click there. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to keep going. And hopefully, that's all I need to do. Now, if it accidentally erases the line that I don't want, which might happen here. Oh, so far, so good. It might happen here. So far, so good. So, and like I said, if it does erase the line that you don't want because the program has picked the wrong line, don't worry about it. Don't try to just redraw it with an annotate line. And therefore, and you'll see, like now the drawing is starting to look better and better. And remember, like what you're doing here only applies to the view elevation 102. If you go to another view, you won't see this anymore. But this is what we're going to use to make our drawing with. So we might as well clean this up properly. Okay, so that's line work. So like I said, you can put in hidden lines in here. For example, here. You know that this is where the step footing is, but you shouldn't be seeing the lines in the wall. So I can remove that. I can remove that. I can even remove that. I can remove that. I can remove that. I can even remove that. Now I can go in and put in some line work. I go to annotate, line detail, make sure I'm on lines. I don't see, this is why I hate removing everything. I don't remember exactly where I was. Escape. Where's, I don't remember where the other one was. Yeah, there's the other one. That's why when I erase, I should have, you know, so, and that's what the step footing is actually supposed to look like, okay? So therefore, that's what it looks like, and that's what you should be. And don't worry, okay, they show it as a hidden line. It should be, that's where it should really be represented because you don't see below the, this is the real way of showing where that step footing is, okay? Now, what I want to show you is this, okay? Let's come here. Now, when you need to put in the elevations, you can actually tag the elevations, okay? So let me move this over here, okay? So you see here it says spot elevation. So if I click here, okay, and I'm going to go and take this elevation here, okay? That's 91 feet 4 inches. That's exactly where it's supposed to be. I simply drag it out to where I want to place it. And there you go. So since I drew it at the right elevation, it gives me the spot elevation right away. So spot elevation, again, I'm going to do one here. So this is 89 feet. And then I'm going to try to line them up nicely. Okay. And one last one, spot elevation over here. So this is how quickly it is. Okay. So these are, spot elevation, like I said. Okay, so there's your spot elevation. Now, if you do that over here, right? You do that over here, and all of a sudden, like, I'm just gonna maybe move it over a bit so I give myself a little bit more room. And I do it here. Well, you see that it's horizontal, right? Now, if you don't want it to be horizontal, then what you do is you click on that, and this, you do edit type, okay? Call it duplicated. Okay, duplicate it, call it vertical, okay, instead of horizontal, or leave it as number 2 or call it vertical, put a V for vertical instead of horizontal, okay. And then if you pan down, you'll see that here it says orientation. Instead of it being horizontal, you put it vertical, okay, and there you go. Now you got it in the vertical position. So now, when you're using the vertical ones, make sure you take the one with the V. So now I can just go ahead and then, so now I got it. And then of course, like if you want, you can move these things around, guys, remember, anywhere you want. You can actually drag these things out as you wish, okay? So if you want, you can, okay, so play with these. And now that I'm gonna do a spot elevation, see, I'm gonna do stupid menus, annotate, spot elevation. Now you see that if I want to do a vertical, I'm going to go and take the vertical one. So this way I can make sure that it takes the vertical one, and there you go. Oops. Okay. So this way you can put it, the text vertically. And that's what that's supposed to be, 89 feet 4 inches. And then of course I can do the next one. And now if this one, I don't want to play with it, I'm just going to delete it and do it again and put the next one in. Spot elevation, make sure it's vertical. Yeah, so here I have my V for vertical. There you go. And there you go. Okay. So there you go. So that's the nice thing, that it does have some little perks. Like I said, the frustrating thing are these stupid stairs. So that's how you put that in. So then once you've done everything correctly, you're going to be able to put all the, like all the spot elevations that you have in here. For example, here they want you to put this one to be 91 feet 4 inches. So you don't have to put it 88.33. 88 feet 4 inches is 88.33. That information is correct. Okay. And that's that. And then I show you how to do the cross section. So if you want, you can put in the cross section symbols where they have to be. Okay. So keep in mind, guys, if you're going to be doing cross sections, okay, keep in mind, if you want to make it practical, you want to put in cross sections. Okay. For example, if I want to put a cross section here, okay, always keep in mind this here, okay? You don't want to go too deep. You don't want to see this in your cross section. All you want to see is this part of the wall. So you would drag this down to here. And then when I click here, you see that's exactly what I want to see, okay? And next week, well, because you guys are getting, next week I'm going to show you that how to make a little key in there if you want, by cutting and so on. And then of course, now I want to go back to 102. So what else? Now, of course, we don't have the stairs in here. I will eventually work out that little click. What else is missing in terms of annotation? Oh yeah. Keep in mind that, you know, like for example, you can draw a line here. So for example, when you want to put in this 12-foot dimension, it will be very hard for you to sort of say, you want to put in a 12-foot dimension in here. So therefore, when I go to annotate, and I can do, even if I want to use this, okay, I'm going to go from here. Now, what do I pick to tell the program that I want to go to 12 feet, okay? It needs to pick something. So the only way you can do that, okay? Now, if you decide to put a grid line, okay? In other words, if you decide to put a grid line, I'll show you what happens with this program. That's not a solution. You decide to put a grid line. So if I go to structures, and I decide to put a grid line, from here, I'm going to go up about 12 feet. Oh, sorry. Grid line. Of course, instead of going from here, I love this program, the way it picks, it has its own mind, you know. I want it to go from here and it decides to go from there. So guys, I'm telling you, so now I have to add the 24 plus 12, I gotta go down to 30. So if you do this, and you put the grid line there, you say, well, I'm gonna use this grid line temporarily, right? And I'm gonna do that. And then all of a sudden, I'm gonna go and take a dimension, annotate, and then, oh, I can't do it with linear. Sorry, I'm gonna take it with a line. Well, I can do it with linear, but I'm gonna do a line. In other words, I'm gonna go from here down to here. Now, of course, it recognizes, so I can put in my 12 feet here somewhere, right? Okay. Okay, so now that's great. So now I got my dimension in, but I don't need that grid line anymore. So I'm going to delete it. So therefore, I'm going to say, I'm going to pick the grid line and I'm going to say delete. Sorry, first I got to get it out of the command. So I'm going to pick the grid line here. And I'm going to say delete. And guess what? It also deleted your dimension line because it's got nothing else left. So what you should do, okay? So what you can do, okay, what you can do then, you can put in a line. You can put in a line, where's annotate? Okay, you can put a detail line. Okay, make sure you're on lines, okay? From here to here. Okay. And then after that, if you want to delete this, of course that goes, but now at least I have something to annotate with. So therefore, if I go to align, I go from there to there, then I've got my 12 feet again, okay? So that's one way to overcome that problem. And as far as the leaders go, okay, so for example, if I want to put that's what I would do here. I would draw a line here, okay? In other words, I would annotate a line detail here. Now I'm going to start here, just going to pull it out to about there. And guys, don't worry about, you understand? You can always modify this line. In other words, you can drag it out a bit, just like with AutoCAD, okay? And you can make it shorter. But now I've got a place where I can put my leader. So therefore, if I come here and I say a leader, you understand? And I pick this point here, there, then I can put in my, and then of course I can go down and put that leader in to represent what I need to do, okay? And don't worry about, you understand, like, just leave it, like, that's one thing. I don't know if I'm perpendicular. I'd have to zoom out. I think I'm perpendicular, and there you go. And then of course, you don't have to put any text. if you don't want to. And of course, there you go. So, and then once you put in the leader, sorry, escape, you can put the other leader, and then to finish this off, you just put in a detail line, okay? And if you happen to put two detail lines, you can actually modify those. Like for example, I want to show you just like you do with AutoCAD, right? In other words, I'm going to do it here. I won't do it precisely. If I put in two detail lines, okay? In other words, I draw one line here, and then I draw one line. Where's the annotate? From that endpoint there, okay? Well, once I have these two lines, what I can do, okay, if I go to modify, okay? And if I pick this, okay? Sorry, where is that stupid command? I can't find it now. They've changed it on me. Okay, I'll try to find it and I'll tell you how to do this next week. But if you want, you can make this into a rounded. So if you want to make that, you know, or just connect two lines in here, doesn't matter. Doesn't have to. I apologize for that. Oops. Escape, erase. Where is my, pick this, escape. Just want to get rid of these two lines. There you go, they're gone. Okay, and then put a leader in here. Okay, and then just draw a line that goes and connects the two of them together if you want to complete the thing. And what else is there in terms of annotation? That's pretty well it. So before we move on, so like I said, guys, you're going to have some line work to do. You're going to have to clean up your drawing, okay? And then after that, you're going to have finishing off the dimensions. You're going to have to go put in all the tags, put in the cross sections where they have to go. If you don't put the cross sections, don't worry about it. But if you do want to put them in, and that's going to pretty well be ready for you to be able to take this drawing. Of course, here we don't have the stairs, okay? So if you want to put in the stairs with the annotation, with the line detail, that's what they were suggesting to do at Autodesk. You can temporarily just fudge those in, but don't even bother. I'm going to see if I can fix the problem. And if I can't fix the problem, well, we'll probably fudge in some lines. But in other words, this would be one step right now. And then after that, we can put in some detail lines in here to represent the stairs, but we'd have to clean this all up, and it's quite a bit of work. So here it is. And that is one of the most frustrating thing I find about Revit, is that the model is very, well, easy. It's hard to, you know, it's sometimes relatively easy to put together, but then when you want to get a nice drawing, there's a lot of additional work that has to get done, so that when you take this view and put it on a sheet to make a drawing with it, it requires quite a bit of line work. And that's, see, like here, for example, this is not very nice. So I would have to come in here and put line work, invisible lines. I would erase that line. So that's gone. Well, at least I corrected that. I would erase this line. Oh, that corrected it. So I would leave like that. So sometimes you just have to erase the lower line. That's all you need to do. Sometimes it erase the line. If it accidentally did that, just put in a detailed line from the annotate, and that's it. And like I said, so you dimension this, dimension everything. So this is the same thing. If you want to dimension this, you would use, you know, this is one place where I want to try to see if the dimension, if the linear dimension will work here. In other words, see, it doesn't pick this line here. It has to go pick that point there in order for the linear line to work. So that's one thing I don't like about linear. You literally have to go down here in order to tell the computer. Otherwise, don't bother. Use a line. A line will take whatever it has here, and then you can go align it there, and then you can drag it up, go out, click it, and there you go, okay? And then of course, so I like to use the align command more than the linear. So from there to there, and of course, 9 feet 6 inches, yeah. And there you go. And one last one. So use the align command when you need to do linear commands. Much easier. You don't have to necessarily go find the drag points. From there to there, go up, go outside, click it, and there you go. So that's basically it. And you can do the same thing for the walls, right? So if you align from there to there, put it wherever you want. And then of course, if you don't want it there, you simply take it, put it out, and that's going to be 8 inches. So, any questions? Now's the time to ask, guys. Welcome to the riveting world of Rivet. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, if we need anything, we'll just go back to the video. It's pretty clear.
Yeah, the video, guys, that's what exactly I like you to do. And like I said, guys, give the stairs a try. If depending, you might have the 2021 version. You might have the one that the school has. That one might not have the bug that I have in my version. So you guys might be able to put in the stairs. Like I said, the stairs are not the easiest thing to put in with rivets. I don't know why it doesn't calculate it properly. I think I gave it all the right information. I do it on one template, it works perfectly. I do it on this template, I got all kinds of bugs. The fact that I cannot see it in plan view, okay? Matter of fact, let me just show you something, okay? This is, I want to show you something here. I'm going to stop sharing. Stop sharing, okay? And what I'm going to show you is, let me just go to, I'm going to have to, sorry, let me just do something here. I want to show you something. Okay, so I'm just going to close this for now. Yes, thank you. And just be patient for 1 second. I want to show you, like, okay, so let me go to, I'm going to open up Rivet. I'm going to show you another file that I have that's I've worked on, okay? And I want to show you another file. It's going to look, I'm going to compare the two files to see where I have a bug, okay? So I'm going to go to this one here. Okay. So here's another file, and then I'm going to share this with you guys. Hold on a second. Okay. So I'm going to share this file with you. Now look at here. Okay. Now I found this really strange. I'm at 88.33 and I can see my stairs. I go to 91.33 and I don't see my stairs anymore. I go to 102 and I don't see my stairs anymore. Okay, but that's okay. But look at this. When I put in the stairs on this one, look at this. I'm going to show you this. They were perfect. So why did it work here and it didn't work today? Can anybody tell me that? Isn't that amazing? Okay. So I'm going to compare what I have here with what I did with you guys, see if I overlooked something, and if I did, I'll let you know next week. And if I can't find the way to fudge the stairs in properly, well, we'll just put them in. Has anybody tried putting in the stairs and they got a decent result? Can you let me know?
Mine were pretty good.
Pardon?
Mine were pretty good.
Yeah, they were good. In other words, you went from here, you were able to go from here all the way up there and everything. It looked pretty much what they were supposed to be.
Oh, maybe not. Not like yours right now.
No, I'm just saying, like, so maybe, like I said, so they look pretty good. Leave them the way it is. Maybe we'll just have to tweak it a bit to make them look perfect. Now, do you see your stairs in plan view?
Yeah.
You do see them. What version are you using of Revit?
The 2021 version.
You see, I should have maybe downloaded the 2021 version. I downloaded the 2020. I'm getting all kinds of problems with the stairs. Understand? So I don't know what happened. So does anybody else have the problem of not seeing their stairs in plan view? I guess nobody knows what I'm talking about because I'm not getting one answer. Or maybe you haven't tried putting in your stairs. I don't know. But anyways, like I said, sorry.
I have a different problem. My stairs weren't showing in the 3D view.
Exactly. In the 2D view, that you weren't seeing them in plan view, right? But
No, I was seeing them in plan view, but when I went to 3D, they don't show up.
okay, well that's not, but you see them in 2D.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's not a problem. I'll show you how you can see them in 3D. Okay. So first, for example, okay.
Well, I managed to fix it now. It was something like it was a hidden object, and when I clicked one of the options, it appeared.
So you were able to reveal it in 3D, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So in other words, whenever you go to 3D, guys, okay, if ever you're in 3D, see, mine is here now because I made it visible in 3D, okay? So what you do, if ever you're in 3D, you don't see something, okay? For example, let's say I come here, right at the bottom here, it says, show, not, where is that? Which, okay, where's, oh yeah, here, this one is. Reveal hidden elements, this little light bulb here, reveal hidden elements. If you click on that, it shows you, see like here, for example, it had automatically put in a railing for me. Those were hidden, okay? So if I want to see that, I should delete that, first of all. I forgot to remove it when I did my stairs. So if I click on this and I right click and I put unhide in view by category, okay? When I go back to, and then I turn this off. Now, so in other words, whatever is hidden, if you want to see it in 3D, just go to this little light bulb at the bottom, click on it. It shows you everything that's hidden. And then whatever is hidden, just pick it, right click, and just put unhide in view. And of course, in my case, I don't even want those railings, right? So I would pick it and I would simply delete them. They're gone. Pick it and I would delete them. And that's why I told you that. Just put none in the beginning so you don't have to go through this step. So that's what have you guys looked at your beams in 3D? So this is what the model basically looks like, okay? And this one has everything, like I was able to work this one perfectly. And then when I came to do the one with you in class, because for some reason, I gave it all the same information and I don't get the same results. So guys, if you get frustrated with Revit, trust me, you are not alone, okay? I get very frustrated with Revit, but at least you're starting to understand in 3D all those 2D views that you had, okay? So in other words, you're starting to see what this thing would actually look in 3D. So in theory, it should help you develop your ability to read drawings a little bit more. And what else can I say? I mean, so like I said, and like in this one here, I don't think I did any annotations, I think. Oh yeah, I started to annotate it here. Yeah, so this is what your drawing is going to eventually look like, you understand? The only thing I don't have here is my stairs because I can't see it. I haven't finished doing my line work properly. So if I wanted to make this, like I said, if I wanted to finish this properly, I would definitely go and do my line work and so on and so on. So this is something that I did, and like I said, and it's starting to look like the plan view, isn't it? Oh yeah, what's this doing here? I don't know. Good. Well, this I just putz around with this to see, you know, I tried different things. So this is what we're aiming for. And guys, the nice thing about Revit is that once we've got the bulk of the model done, then to make the other views, it's going to get easier and easier. So don't get discouraged. We did the hard part up to now, okay? It should be getting only easier after this. So don't get discouraged, please, okay? And if there's any questions, I hope I've answered them all. So what I'd like you to do is please bring your drawing to this stage next week. You understand? Like clean up your line work and everything. And then next week, make sure it's done to this stage. This is what I want you to do for next week. Clean it all up. And then I'll even show you how to put that north arrow. Oh, I might even show you one last thing. Did you guys, we've never loaded families, right, in Revit so far? Okay. Now, there's one thing I've noticed that when I downloaded Revit, the 2020 version, I asked for the Canadian one, and they gave me some very limited amount of stuff in the library, okay? If ever you want, what I strongly suggest, we're gonna do this next week together. So we're all, I don't know about you guys. Have you had your fill? I'm pretty much saturated myself. Are you guys pretty much saturated? Give me a thumbs up or give me a yes or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, we're all saturated. So next week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to download families from the Autodesk. Okay, some of you might know how to do that. Because some of you might already have those families in your file, I'm sorry, in your program. Those of you that don't have it, you're gonna have to go and download it. And even that can be a very frustrating thing because the site is so big, you need to kind of navigate your way through it. So we'll do that together. Because when I looked at my libraries that I had and what I downloaded, I was very limited. So there was a lot of families that I didn't have, especially when it comes to the rebars. I won't have the rebar family to do it in Imperial. I only have the metric ones. So I will have to download the, so I'll show you how to download, excuse me. I'll show you how to download the families from Revit. And the one that I want you to download, it's 1.2 gigs of downloading. So it might be, maybe we should do it right now. So this way you guys can do it before next week. Let me just go to, I want to ask you guys a question. I know, okay, so I'm going to go open up another file here. I don't know where I have my, I'm going to go back to my other file. This is where, no, it's not in here. I just want to open up. Okay, it's nowhere in here. I might have it here. I don't know where I filed this one. I'll find it soon. It must be this one. Okay, so this is the one we were working on today, okay? Now, what I want you to do, for example, okay, I don't know if you guys, like, I'm gonna go, for example, here. I'm gonna go to Insert, Load Families, okay? Now, here you'll notice that I've got Canadian families, and even at that, it's very limited what I have in here, okay? Very limited. So I really don't like this Canadian family. And unfortunately, okay, when I downloaded the program, I do have the US Imperial here, but I put this in myself, I believe, okay? Now, I'm gonna show you where to find this on the Autodesk, okay? So what you can do, if you guys don't have the US family, I only have part of it here because this is where you have like the templates for the drawings. You have the different sizes. You won't have that if you only have the Canadian one. I will show you where to get that, okay? So what you do basically, so I'm gonna exit, I'm gonna stop sharing this, okay? And I am going to go to, okay, I'm gonna open up my web browser. And of course, I'm gonna go to, okay, if you type in your search engine, put in Revit. I think the fastest way I found it, I put in Revit library content. I believe that was the fastest way, okay? Revit library content. Okay, so here is download Revit library. So this is the link that you have to go to. How to download Revit, okay? So this is the link you have to go to.
Can you show your screen?
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Hold on a second. I apologize. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I thought I was doing it. Thank you. Here I am. Okay, so let me go back to, where was I? Share. Okay, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to redo this so that we're all on the same page. Sorry about that. So let me share. Okay. Okay. Close this. So I'm going to go and share my screen. I'm going to go and share my Explorer. Share. No, that's not what I want. Share. Oh, that's because I closed it. Okay. Cancel. Oh, here you go. That's it. Share. No, that's not what I want. Sorry, guys. A little tired. I'll find it eventually. Okay, so I want to open this. Okay. So now, okay, so here I am. This is my web browser. Yours is definitely going to look simply different, okay? So here in the search bar, what I put Revit library content. Okay, Revit library content. And the one that you should go to is here, how to download Revit library content. Installing Revit library content, okay? They're going to bring you to exactly the same place, okay, for 2 seconds. So this is where you want to be. This is the Revit products. Then you just forget about learn. I'm going to teach you how to do it. You go to downloads. Click this link here. Now, what you want to do is make sure you tell it which version you have. If you have 2000, and leave it. If you don't have, you have 2020, then pick the 2020, okay? And then right down here, you have where you have the Revit libraries right up here, okay? 2020, and this is where you have the libraries. So in other words, you have September 3rd, so I'm gonna click there. And these are all the libraries that you could download that have all the families. So for example, you have English ones, but these are the different countries. So what I want you to do is go get the one that says here, okay, where it says US Imperial, okay? So you right click here. I like to open this in my tab. Of course, once I do that, it's gonna start downloading. I've already downloaded it, okay? Then once it's downloaded, it's going to open up and it's already going to have where it wants to store it. Just click that and it's going to automatically store it in your Revit program. And then you're going to have all the families for all the different things that we're going to be doing to this drawing, like the rebars, the cut lines, and so on and so on. So I don't want to do it now because this is 1.2 megs of information I'm downloading, but you just right click here. Like I find it really stupid. I tried to click here, and and then I realized, I said, how come it's not downloading? Then I realized I had to right click and open in the new tab. In other words, open down here, and then it would start downloading. So do that. Once it's downloaded, open it. Of course, it's a safe site. Don't worry about it. It's going to give you a path that it wants to store it. It's going to have where the program is stored, and it's going to have /library. Just click that. It will automatically load it into your program, and you'll have all the families. So do that for next week. So this way, when we're going to go look for the families, we're going to be able to always be able to find the families. And especially since if you guys only have the Canadian one, you won't have the imperial bar, so you're going to have to, and so on and so on. So do that for next week, and we'll be able to make sure that we can go and load everything else we need so that we can install it in our model accordingly. Okay? So that should be it. I'm going to stop sharing that. And on that note, like I said, is everybody okay? I'm pretty sure you're all exhausted. I'm pretty tired myself. And after that, next week, it should only be getting slightly easier, guys. Okay, like once you've cleaned this up and done everything, I'm going to show you how to drag it onto a sheet to make a drawing with it. And then next week, I'm going to ask you to actually draw it on your sheet, turn it into a PDF, and I'm going to ask you to email me your PDF right after. And after we've done that, then we're going to continue and start doing, like you'll see how fast it is. Now that we've put the openings, and once we get those stairs in correctly, okay, hopefully, you'll see that putting in all the other information to do the rebarring. I'll show you how to insert the rebars and all that. So it should only get easier, guys. So don't get discouraged, okay? It is a very, very big program. It's very, very complicated. There's a lot to do. And like I said, even sometimes you're doing it and you think you're doing everything right. And for some reason, the version you're using, it doesn't. So don't blame yourself. It might not be you. It might be the program itself. And I'm going to tweak with it this week to see how I can fudge the values so that I can put those stairs in correctly. And if I can tweak it and get it correctly, I'm going to show you guys how to do it. And if not, well, don't worry about it. We'll just put it in approximately, and then hopefully the ones of you that have the better version, you'll be able to do it correctly. And we'll just keep going until we're pretty much done. What I'm also going to show you is like how to generate schedules from Revit. So therefore, you'll see the nice thing about Revit. Once you generate the schedule, it can actually do the estimating for you, and so on and so on. So I'll show you how to do that. And then after that, one of the last things we're going to do is we're going to be putting on a steel structure on top of this floor plan, and you'll see how fast it is to do that with Revit. So it should be getting easier. So I don't want you guys to get discouraged. I just want you to know that we're pretty much over the hump by now. And from here on in, we should just be going very smoothly towards being able to complete this without getting too upset. How's that? Sounds good?
Yeah.
We're all good? So, like I said, I'm going to stop the recording. So this way,